Warm greetings from the high 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. Hello, Pandora's Box. Thank you for dropping in. This may be a winded live once again because this is a three-part discussion pertaining to Eliza Fletcher, the Merced murders out in California, and Debbie Collier. I'm going to chop up information pertaining to three stories. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, Everyday Shenanigans, $Big Angie, 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during this live. Please hit the bell. Come on in. Like, share, subscribe. The dream is real. All right, everybody. Here we go. This first content is pertaining to Eliza Fletcher. I'm a week late on the information because when I first went in to search the update, a part of this story was missing from the national broadcast, local broadcast out of Memphis, until AB came on the live and told me that she did have fentanyl in her system, Eliza Fletcher. So we're going to chop that up. I'm not going to read a winded source because it's already breaking news. So I'm not going to do all that. But I'm going to read you about fentanyl, and then we're going to chop up how it got in her system. Thank you for joining me. Fentanyl is a powerful pain medication. It's an opiate like morphine, codeine, oxycodone, OXYS, and methadone. Street name: Apache, China Girl, Chinatown, China White, Murder 8, Jackpot, Poison, TNT, Tango, and Cash. What is it? Fentanyl is a powerful pain medication. It is an opiate like morphine, codeine, oxycodone, and methadone. Fentanyl is most often prescribed as a slow-release patch to people with long-term severe pain. When used in this way, it can be very effective and safe. Fentanyl is much stronger than most other opiates, up to 100 times stronger than morphine, and it's very dangerous if misused. Even a small amount can cause an overdose and death. Where does it come from? Street fentanyl can come from two sources: illegal drug labs, patches that have been sold by or stolen from people they were prescribed to. What does it look like? Most street fentanyl in Canada is produced illegally as a powder. Street fentanyl can be swallowed, smoked, snorted, or injected. Fentanyl is released from prescription patches by smoking or chewing. Fentanyl is sold as a powder or pill, or is cut into mixed with drugs such as heroin and cocaine. This type of fentanyl is usually sold as another substance, so people swallow, snort, or inject it without realizing. Many overdoses have occurred because people did not know that what they were taking was contaminated with fentanyl. If you or somebody you know uses opiates, it's a good idea to have a free naloxone kit. The naloxone is a medication that can temporarily reverse the effects of an opiate overdose and allow time for medical help to arrive. How does it make you feel? When they're used properly to treat pain, opiates reduce pain, emotional response to pain. However, when they are misused, they may produce euphoria, drowsiness, relaxation, difficulty concentrating, constricted pupils, slow breathing, nausea, vomiting, constipation, loss of appetite, sweating, overdose. When someone overdoses on fentanyl, they first become sleepy and it's hard to wake them. Their breathing becomes slow and shallow. They may snore and they may pass out. The person's body may become limp, their face pale or clammy, and their pulse weak or slow. For lighter-skinned people, the lips and fingertips may turn blue or purple. For dark-skinned people, the inside of the lips may become blue or purple. If someone is overdosing, call 911 right away. While you are waiting for medical help to arrive, you can use your naloxone kit to temporarily reverse the effects of the overdose. The Good Samaritan Drug Overdose Act protects you from being charged or convicted for drug possession if you call 911 to report an overdose, or if you are at the scene of an emergency. If you are at the scene when emergency services arrive. This is true even if you're on probation or possession. It's very good information because we've heard and seen people who have overdosed and they've been dumped out in the street, the forest, wherever, because they overdosed and the person obviously didn't want to go down for murder, complicity to a murder, and or if they're the ones to have given the person the drug. That's very good information. Is it dangerous? It is dangerous for many reasons. It's often impossible to tell if a powder or pill contains fentanyl. You can't see it, smell it, or taste it. Even your dealer may not know what they are selling or how strong it is. Because fentanyl is so strong, the difference between a dose that will get you high and a dose that can kill you is very small. You can overdose even if you use someone's prescription patch and know the dose. Everyone handles fentanyl differently. One person's dose can kill another person. If you're using other drugs at the same time, for example, other opiates, alcohol, or sedatives, such as Xanax, Valium, or Ativan, the risk of overdose is even higher. And at the bottom, it shows you where you can get information. CAMH.ca is the source of this information. CAMH. Very informative information. So let's go back to how it can get in your system. 1 second. This drug is for pain and the emotional response to pain. So does a powder or pill, or it's cut into drugs such as heroin and cocaine. Street fentanyl can be swallowed, smoked, snorted, or injected. And it's in prescription patches, so a person can smoke it or chew it. Eliza Fletcher had fentanyl in her system. So how did she get it in her system? I brought you content weeks ago that I believe that Cleotha Henderson was an addict due to the interview that the news did briefly at the door of the woman who he was staying with. She had white foam around her mouth, or white substance around her mouth. She looked as if she was possibly an addict. So I deducted from that interview that Cleotha was an addict. When I saw his appearance in court, he was smaller than the pictures he had taken while in prison, and that also gave me the notion that he is an addict. Now you fast forward with this information that the woman had drugs in her system, so we're going to use deduction and assumption. I'm going to assume that Eliza Fletcher was not a user. She could have been, but I'm going to say possibly she was not due to the behavior of this bum. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's the user, and when he kidnapped her, subdued her, which is however high it went, he either injected her, gave her to snort it. The point is, 9 times out of 10, as I had said in my content earlier, he was doped up when he was out there looking for a victim. Where he saw her, how many times he saw her, when did he decide to kidnap her, I do not know. But we do know he lied in wait 24 minutes. It is on video surveillance. So that leads me to believe he was looking for possibly her. He had seen her run before. Maybe he was out doped up and knew she ran through there. So he said, well, I'll come back. She'll be coming through here. Or maybe he was sitting 24 minutes apart getting high. How about that? Nonetheless, he kidnaps this lady. We know that she died from being shot in the back of the head, fractures to her face and jaw. So he beat her. But at what point did she get the drugs in her? So as I said, did he inject her? Is he known to inject himself? Or did he snort it? Gave it to her, made her snort it? How did it go? It's very disturbing news because the murder itself is disturbing. It's disturbing to know that she was kidnapped. 9 times out of 10 sexually assaulted. That information has not been released, but I'm going to use deduction that she was sexually assaulted because her shorts were found in another trash can dumpster inside of a bag. And that bag came from a dumpster outside of the brother's apartment. So why would you have her shorts in a bag? Why would you take her shorts off unless you had done something nefarious with the victim, such as rape? I do believe he raped the victim. I believe he was geeked up, high, is a known sadist, is a raper, is a kidnapper, has been convicted, and he was doped up, geeked up when he went out looking for her, or was already out, geeked up, doped up, and looked for her, which is however you want to look at it. He's a doper, he's a sadist, and he is now a murderer. He did not murder the other black lady who come forward, a young girl who's come forward to say he assaulted her in an apartment complex with a gun. But we now know he had access to a gun from her case. So you fast forward to this case a year later, she's shot, Mrs. Fletcher, by a gun. So that means he had access to a gun. So I do believe the young lady's account of what happened in that apartment last year, that vacant apartment, where she was lured by Cleota Abston Henderson. Fast forward a year later, kidnaps a Caucasian woman, obviously feeds her dope, sexually assaults her, beat her to death, shoot her, all of the above. One shot to the back of the head to make sure the victim is dead and won't be testifying to any detective or in a court of law. But instead, the dumbass was under a camera and seen kidnapping the victim. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Next story is pertaining to Merced, California. Before I go to that, I want to ask a few questions. Why did he kill Eliza Fletcher? I have been wondering that. Because he didn't kill the black girl. So you sexually assault her, pull a gun out, cover her face with a shirt or whatever, play these ring around the rosies going inside and outside of the apartment, but you left her alive. Why? So why did you leave the black girl alive but kill the white woman? I'm curious. As I said, I suspected drug use in this storyline. He's a user. All right, we're now going to go to California. Hello, Joy. How are you, honey? Thank you all. Please check out my content from early this morning where I talk about Debbie Collier. I'm going to chop up the crime scene, the text, I believe, in this live pertaining to Debbie Collier and what is bothering me about what was left at the crime scene. Please go to my community board to watch the video. You will see what was left behind at the crime scene. I want to talk about what was there. I still want to touch on the text sent to the daughter, allegedly by the victim. We're going to chop up what was said in the text and the crime scene. Thank you so much for joining me. Get my Bluetooth ready.
Bluetooth connected.
All right, everybody. Terrible news coming out of California. Just awful. Absolutely disturbing. Prayers to this family, because what happened to them is outrageous. ABC News is a source. 4 family members who were mysteriously kidnapped found dead. Good Morning America is the source of this information.
Update on the family members in California who were kidnapped at gunpoint earlier this week. Authorities have found their bodies. The sheriff says they are now able to talk to the suspect. Mola Lengi has the latest. So tragic, Mola. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. Not the update anyone wanted. The Merced County Sheriff here described it as his worst fears coming true after those 4 family members who were kidnapped from their place of business here behind me. Their bodies found dead. The bodies of 8-month-old Aruhi Derry, her parents, her uncle, found on a nearby farm last night, just hours after investigators released chilling surveillance video showing the family being abducted at gunpoint in broad daylight from their trucking business here on Monday. Still no word on a possible motive. Police did say one of the victims' ATM cards was used at a bank. The suspect, 48-year-old Jesus Manuel Salgado, taken into custody Tuesday after attempting to take his own life. His own family turned him in after he allegedly confessed to them his involvement in the kidnapping. Now, the sheriff overnight understandably emotional about the killings.
There's no words right now to describe the anger I feel and the senselessness of this incident. I said it earlier, there's a special place in hell for this guy.
Salgado does have a criminal record. In 2005, he was convicted for armed robbery and false imprisonment. Robin, he was paroled back in 2015.
Oh, Mona, thank you. It's just absolutely heartbreaking.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News.
All right, everybody. Good morning, America. This is the source of that said information. Thank you, Miss Robin, for that commentary. Let's chop up what was said. Family of 4 died. Many of you who follow the content, my channel, you would have already watched the video of all 4 victims being lured out by the killer. The killer first shows up bringing trash. One guy comes out to receive the trash. You see him walking up a walkway, pull out a gun, go inside the building. 2 exit out of the back of the building with the killer with their hands behind their back with zip ties. He takes them off into a black truck, returns 6 minutes later to then bring out the woman and a baby. Number 1, why did you take the trash from him? We learned that this business was only open a week, 1 week. So obviously he had been watching this business, people coming and going. He learned their schedule, coming in at 9 in the morning. No one's around. I did mention to you all that it's off a busy street. I saw cars going by, but when I got a closer view of the video, you can see that there's brown fencing, some type of brown plastic, I guess, going around the fencing. So naturally, people walking by on that sidewalk, which he's believed to be walking on the sidewalk and seen going all the way around to come into the gate, nobody could see what was going on because there was a covering attached to the fencing. Why did he choose this group of people? How long had he been watching them? Because if they were only open a week, he would have had just a week to watch. Recycling, okay, whatever. It's all the same to me. They gave it. Now they're dead. Should they have given it? But somebody may have felt like, well, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. But it is a big deal because now 4 innocent people are no longer alive. How long had he been watching the business owners? There was a dog tied to a fence in the back of the property, probably to ward off people like him. But as you see, it didn't matter because he's walked up to these people. They've engaged with him, and now he's kidnapped them. 6 minutes is interesting because we find out that where the victims were found was a rural area. So that means, I'm assuming, 6 minutes down the road is a rural community where he discarded the victims. He also set the truck on fire. So that means he had to have a way from that locale. It is also believed that there's another suspect involved in these crimes. Who is that person? Is he homeless or not homeless? Where does he live? The fact that he confessed to his family, interesting. Why did he confess? Why did he confess? He used one of the victims' cards at an ATM. How much money did he get from the ATM? Is he a drug user? Is this the reasoning for the murders? Robbery to support a drug habit, or just he's a robber, didn't care. And as I always say, the motive really never matters. It's just something we do. We always ask why, but it's really irrelevant because 4 people are dead and there's not going to be any sound reasoning behind kidnapping people and killing them for any reason. Was it racially motivated as well? Although we hear that he has a Hispanic name, these people are of a foreign descent. Was it racially motivated? Had he had contact with these people before? Will we find out on surveillance camera that they've had contact with him before and he was just doing a walkthrough? He had done a walkthrough before, and then this time he followed through. Once again, 6 minutes away. He dropped off 2 victims, then returned for the woman and the child. The trailer is not that big. So I was trying to understand where everybody was in the room. If he could see or hear the woman and the child maybe in another room. But he had to have known they was in there because he came back with the child and the baby. You see her walking down the stairs with the baby in front of her. So he saw her. Why didn't she run out? That's a question that was asked. I believe from Court TV. It's a very solid question. You see this man coming in with a gun, taking your husband and brother-in-law away, and you don't think to run? 6 minutes she had to get out of there. And we know she was able to walk because she walks down the stairs with the baby in front of her. And it probably been kind of hard to zip tie with a baby in front of you if your hands were zip tied in the front. That means you would have to cradle the baby in your arms. But nonetheless, you see she was not subdued and she was able to walk. So that means, sweetheart, why didn't you run out of there? You had 6 minutes to get to safety. Call 911. Tell somebody a description of the killer, a description of the vehicle that's missing. You had 6 minutes to do all that. Why didn't you do it? And it was said in the commentary, Court TV, that people react differently when in fear. Whether they're being raped, sexually molested, the accuser, suspect will tell the person, I'll hurt your family, I'll do this to you, I'll come back, and they believe it. But in my right mind, in this one situation, I do believe I would have tried to get out of that trailer. I would have ran out. And we didn't see another suspect come out on surveillance of the trailer with the woman, the baby, and suspect number one. So that I can't understand why she wouldn't run out. This is a very baffling story. He attempted to kill himself. Why? When approached by authorities. Why would you try to kill yourself? A lot of people kill themselves when they have close proximity relations to a victim. But we have seen many cases where people go on crime sprees. They do not know any of the victims and they kill themselves or attempt to kill themselves. In 2005, he was convicted of armed robbery and kidnapping. Paroled in 2015. That's not even 10 years. We need laws to change this. Because it makes no sense to keep letting offenders out of prison, for heinous crimes. To me, kidnapping is a heinous crime. Robbery is a heinous crime. Sexual assault, torture is a heinous crime. And when you're doing all of it together with a weapon, rape, torture, whether they live or not, it's all heinous. It makes no sense to keep letting these people out. Child molesters get less time or probation or ankle bracelets, which is wrong. You should get life in prison if you touch a child. That's my personal opinion. There's no way the courts can just keep thinking, the judge, that they're going to be rehabilitated. They're not. And if you're in this line of business long enough as a district attorney, a detective, and a judge, you already know the outcome of a child molester. This is why people cross over into murdering people, because they don't want to be apprehended. Okay? It is time to stiffen the penalties for child rape, child molestation, kidnap, rape. It's all the same to me. You're violating a person's person, their body, their spirit, their mind. So why should they get to go free 7 years, 8 years, 10 years? This man was paroled. So common sense will tell you if he was convicted in 2005, the crime 9 times out of 10 took place before 2005. Because it takes a while before the charges go to court, go to trial. Unless he had a bench trial and just took a plea before the judge. 10 years. Who was that person that he kidnapped and robbed? Woman, man. Where are they today? And I'm sure they will probably come out and say something, give a statement too. What happened to them many moons ago? This is disturbing news. Why kill a child? What did the baby do to you? Nothing. You're too busy trying to get money, because 9 times out of 10, you're an addict. And you're going to take all these people for one damn card. One damn ATM card. 3 adults, and all you get out of it is an ATM card. You're seen putting the card in the machine, so obviously you didn't care about being apprehended. And then you take the coward's way out, try to kill yourself. Why? You know what you did was wrong. Kidnapping those people, killing them, setting the truck on fire, and then going to the ATM to put the damn card in there, and then you want to kill yourself when you're approached by authorities. And then you have the nerve to confess to your family. Why are you confessing to them? For what? So I want to know, where did he live? Yes, in broad daylight, exactly. Early broad daylight, because 9 in the morning, you can't get no earlier and no sunnier. But that's the point. The fencing is covered with some type of covering all the way around, so therefore nobody can see through the fence unless they're just walking by on the sidewalk and looking through the fence, if you can see through. So he knew what he was doing. He picked the perfect place, the perfect victims. And as I said, he's possibly been there before to walk it out. He did a dry run, because many criminals do. They do a dry run before they actually commit a crime. Because in the end, he doesn't know who's in the trailer. He doesn't know who's on the property. It could have been 4 or 5 other people there doing business, talking over business. Could have been standing outside. That's why I question, why didn't they fight? That's my main question. Besides the woman and the baby, why didn't one, she leave afterwards? And mainly, why didn't all of you all take him down? But let's just say it was 2, then that means 3 people would have had to fight off 2 people with a gun, knife, whatever. So what's the second party in the trailer? Come in the trailer. But they showed a surveillance that it was only him walking outside and walking in with guy number 1. So where's our guy number 2? And is there other footage we need to see of him, what, standing outside, helping in some way, what? Because this is where I'm getting confused with the guy number 2. This is utterly disturbing. 4 people gone, snuffed out. The family has spoken before the bodies were found, and they were saying that they were trying to attain the American dream. They're from the Sikh religion. And I've heard this story a few times of people who came to America escaping war, strife, famine, to only shortly die after coming to America. I've heard this before. A trucker from a foreign country, killed in Memphis many years ago. Robbery was the motive. Because a lot of people watch truckers when they're traveling to and fro. They get out of their trucks. They know they have money on them. And they rob them. You have to be careful out here. No one is exempt from being assaulted or killed. And if you think that you can't be hurt, you're in for a rude awakening. Because it doesn't matter if you're a child, if you're an adult, so long as you're breathing, you're fair game. And this is sad that these people are just trying to make a living like everybody else, and they are walked out to their death. And that to me is cruel. It's one thing to just walk up, shoot somebody, stab somebody. That's vicious alone. But to walk to your death is different, because you're walking and thinking at the same time, how can I get out of this situation? I'm telling you, they should have fought them in that trailer. I've always said that. You go down fighting. Because many people have pulled guns on people, and somebody decided to say, we're not getting ready to go down like this. You're not getting ready to murder us, me, whomever. I'm going to fight you. Because in the end, what you have to tell yourself is, what do I have to lose? They want me probably dead anyway. I don't know what they're going to do with me, and I ain't getting ready to find out. I'm going to fight. And in this case, it's more than one person. 3 adults and a child. So if it's just one killer in the room, we get ready to tear it down up in here. Even if one of us gets shot, at least 2 survive. Come on now. Prayers to this family. And prayers that the laws change for letting people out early from heinous crimes. You see what happened with Cleotha and the Eliza Fletcher case. Does 20 years and yet still comes out, rapes one woman, rapes this lady and kills her. So there was no rehabilitation. And rehabilitation doesn't exist in prison because they cannot afford to rehabilitate half of those people that's in there that have a chance of getting out at some point. They're going to have resources to have all these different inmates going in classes all day, every day. The test is when they get their ass out of there. But I agree they need some type of counseling if indeed they're going to be released. They have a chance to be released. They need some psychological counseling to say, why are you doing this? How long have you had thoughts of doing this? What are you getting out of doing this? Do you think you can go out here to the public and not re-offend? But I personally don't believe that should even probably be on the table either, because anything dealing with sexual assault, they should stay in jail till they die. That's my personal opinion. I do not believe in a child molester walking free. Whether he just touched the child or penetrated the child. You should have common sense to know if he penetrated the child, his ass need to be stoned to death. That's my personal opinion. You rape somebody, you need to have life in prison. You kidnap, rape somebody, life in prison. You kidnap the person, life in prison. Because what you're betting on is they're going to walk out here and not reoffend. At this point in 2022, how can you reasonably think they won't reoffend? This man just got out in 7 years ago, for kidnapping somebody and robbery. He's done it again, but this time, what did I tell you? He crossed over to murder because that's what they do. They don't want to be apprehended, so they kill the people. Many people have crossed over from theft, robbery, defraud to murder as to not be identified, apprehended. This is a prime example. This is a prime example. Oh, they pointed me out. Oh, they got me in a lineup. Well, if I make it out of here, the next time there'll be no identifying me. That's why he killed him. He already had done 10 years in prison. Didn't want to go back to prison. But obviously he didn't want to live either because he tried to kill himself. How about that? Story number 3, Debbie Collier. I was up late this morning doing a live pertaining to Debbie Collier. And I'm going to finish this conversation about Debbie till we get an arrest. God willing. 1 second. If you'd like to join me, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Nobody wanted to be available this morning. Why? I don't know. But when I don't put it up here, people ask to speak. It's very strange. Thank you all for joining me. Hope you all are well. Looking forward to the weekend, I'm sure most of you. Hard day at work, hard week. Please be safe out there. Be aware of your surroundings. I'm going to put this link in here. Feel free to join me. Give me your commentary. That is what the link is for, so you can speak instead of typing. What's on the Queen's mind today pertaining to Debbie Collier? Goes kind of like this. the husband just blind or disengaged with his wife before death? Because he was standing on the side of the road when the crime scene was taped off. I believe that was him standing there with an umbrella. What was he thinking? When he gave his rendition to the dispatch pertaining to the wife missing, I was wondering what type of man he is, his relationship with the victim. We know that they slept in different rooms for snoring purposes, but is that the only reason they slept in separate rooms? Did they actually have a relationship with one another? All right. What type of relationship did the two have? That's what I'd like to know. Was he disengaged with his wife? Maybe he didn't really care for her. Didn't even care about this information pertaining to the wife being dead. I said this before. I don't make excuses for adults. I don't care what the police has said. I don't care what the police has said to him or anybody pertaining to this story. If my wife or husband was murdered, I think I would have something to say to the public, such as this. I am baffled. I'm stunned. I'm hurt. I'm devastated. I want justice. I can't imagine anyone harming my wife, my husband. Why did this happen? How did this happen? Who did this? Why have I've not heard anything from the husband? Why not say something? Is he involved in some sort of way with this crime? I don't know. I don't know. But all roads lead to Amanda, Panda Bear, because she's been the orchestrator of the storyline from the beginning. He said, she said, she said. Running to the house, running to the auntie. Everybody's spewing a version per Amanda. And that leads me to believe she's involved. Amanda was there with the victim in that car at the Family Dollar, or she met her mother at the crime scene. Take your pick. She took the items from the victim back to the house as to play this story out that this was a random crime. Follow what I'm saying now. You hear the husband saying to the dispatcher, her purse is here, ID is here, driver license. Well, we already know the woman would not leave with those items going up the highway an hour and a half later. Why would she travel that far without driver license? Wallet. Asked her, did she have any other type of monies on her? He's saying, no, this is what she would have. Well, how do we know what she would have? How do you know what she would have? Did you see everything in the purse, sir? Do you know all the credit cards the woman has? Venmo, Cash App, credit card, debit cards. Do you know every card she has? Women are known to switch purses. I want you all to listen carefully to what I'm saying to you. That girl was at that scene with her mother, and she brought that dead woman's ID and credit card back. Why? Will we find out she used her credit card or other credit cards? Possibly. Open up other accounts? Possibly. See, she got back after he got home from work. Listen to what I'm saying now. See, everything fits together. Because see, the one thing I do is I listen to what the police have to say. I don't go to Facebook. I don't go to Pookieville and Bubbaville to get my information. I listen to what the police has said, and then I put the story together from what the police has to say, not gossip. It all fits intricately together if you listen carefully. And they've given you the clues that she's behind this because you start from the start to the end. Every little thing the husband has said, every little thing she has said shows you she's involved. Not an outsider, not a random person, not a kidnapper. You were at the scene. You took that stuff back to the house. You went to the door. He opened the door. You went upstairs. He tells all this in a dispatch call. That is when you put the credit card and the ID in the purse. Bingo card. You're not slick, Cookie. You see, the key in the flower part goes kind of like this. You knew about the key in the flower pot because you're her daughter. And knowing you probably went rambling around to find the damn key anyway. But I don't think you were there before the father. He said he got there at 4:30. You got there afterwards because you were a busy bee, remember? 1 hour and a half away is the crime scene. So you all had to hurry up, get that woman down that ravine, kill her, then make it back to play the grieving daughter, concerned daughter about a missing mom. You call it 6:01. You had time to do everything that I've just described in this content. Set it up. Why didn't you call police when the mother sent the message? Stay woke, everybody. They're not going to let me go, but yet she sends you money. Where do they do that at? Why would a kidnapper let a person use the phone unless it's a ransom? Stay woke, everybody. Why would I let you use the phone and I'm holding you hostage for some reason? And the only reason I would hold you hostage is if it's personal, I'm going to hurt you, torture you, sexually assault you, or I want to hold you for ransom. But we don't hear of a ransom from any other identifying source. Just a Venmo of a text and money transferred to the daughter, allegedly from the decedent. And we don't have verification if indeed Debbie Collier sent that money to the daughter. You also don't hear the husband mention anything about the money when he's speaking to the dispatcher. Why is that? Because she possibly didn't mention to him about the money. She just said, oh, she sent me this text. They're not going to let her go. Something's happened to mom. Did she show the stepdad the text? The entire text. Stay woke now. Why didn't he also mention the $23.85 to the dispatcher? Once again, who goes outside without their ID and the card or money they're going to use? So now we have to use deduction that what? She didn't have any of these things on her, just a Venmo card or cash. So how did Debbie Collier pay for the items in the store? I always listen to the details because the details will reveal the killer or killers. And so far, all roads lead to Amanda Bearden. All the way. Why would the victim not text, please call 911, honey. They're holding me hostage. They're not going to let me go. Here's my location. And what she typed allegedly, which we don't believe this is Debbie Collier typing this information, she would have said, I'm in danger. Call 911. I'm off highway such and such. I'm over here near the forest on such and such road. Highway. Stay woke. And as people have said, what kidnapper is going to let you use the phone unless they're wanting you to try to get money for a ransom? But if you are there with a debit card, they don't need you to message anybody. See, everything's in the details. Everything's in the details. Debbie Collier didn't send that because it makes no sense for me to be held captive and I'm going to be worried about sending my child money. Why would I want to send you money and somebody's holding me hostage and I'm thinking they might kill me? Make it make sense. So, Cookie, this is where you messed up. when you sent yourself the money. See, what you were better off doing was not even messing with the Venmo account at all. But because you're greedy, this is the possible motive for killing your mother. This is what you did. But you're a fool because you're like most dumb criminals. You don't think. This is the reason why they were at your house searching for 6 hours. You gave the police a reason to search your house. You and Andrew. What kidnapper lets you use the phone? They're holding you for some reason. As I said, unless a ransom is requested. And they're asking the victim, or telling the victim, hey, go call your husband or this person, we need this much money. But as you see, that never happened. Because 9 times out of 10, she had money on her debit card or whatever. The kidnapper wouldn't need her to send any messages to anybody. Stay woke. The items at the scene near the tree trunk that's uprooted. Perfect place for funny games with a victim. When I watched that footage last night on Court TV, it all made clear sense to me. Why they took her down there. Because you see, it's a downward trot. So you all 9 times out of 10 got dirty down there. At least your shoes anyway. The trunk is uprooted. And in that area where it's a hole is debris from a crime scene and a victim. And the one thing I noticed, besides things discarded that were supposed to be burned up, charred, the blue gloves that the detectives or whomever used, forensic team, was a piece of cardboard paper. It's blue in color. If you go back to that video, look very closely at that cardboard that was torn up. Some of you are going to say, Queen, where are you going with this? I think it should be obvious where I'm going with this. You made her buy all those items on purpose. And you made her put all those things in the tote as to carry it down there because you planned this. You planned it quite well, actually. That's what the tote was for, was to carry the items down to the ravine with the victim. Oh, I bet you all never thought about that, did you? See, the queen mind stays in rotation because I don't jump the gun on the story until I hear everything. I try to anyway. And I knew what time of day it was when they said the items were with the victim. I said, that's what the tote was for, was to hold all the items, wrap her up, set her ablaze. That's what the lighter was for. Stay woke. Now you have pieces of cardboard scattered in the debris with the what was left behind. You tore that thing open to get the lighter out. You did all that right there by that tree. Not up in the car, not outside the car, but right there at the tree trunk. So that showed me the items were requested for murder. And she bought these items to aid in her own demise and didn't even know it. And you tore open the packaging of the lighter right there. How about that? This is why I always tell you all to pay attention to the details, because as I said, in the details is where you will find your killer. You deliberately had her buy those items to aid in her own killing. You stupidly sent that Venmo money to yourself with that text when we already know a kidnapper would have, 1, never let her use the phone, 2, would have requested a ransom. 3, the victim would have said, hey, I'm off of Highway 15, 18, 22. Come get me, help me, call the police. She would not be sending you money. I told you, everything's in the details. You did all this to set this woman on fire. Those items you bought. You made sure to put her body, made her lie down near the tree trunk, asked to be out of the way and hidden while you did your dirty business with the victim. I do believe it took you a while to set her on fire. So let's go here. How much of the victim's body is charred? Just the stomach? Some believe it may have been torture. But I believe it won't really matter. That's what I believe. Because you loathe Debbie Collier, Amanda Bearden. You never liked your mother. If you did, it was possibly as a small child, but somewhere along the line, you came to hate Debbie Collier. And I won't doubt that she's helped you along the way in your downfall and spiraling descent into the abyss with drugs. And you figured this was a good way to possibly get back at her. Who's to say that Debbie Collier had told you she was done helping you, aiding you, tired of being there for you? We don't know what happened between you and your mother. We did hear of a commotion the night before, and possibly the commotion was the fact that she didn't want you here, or you were begging for money. It was something. We also see footage of them going into that apartment where you're living. I believe that's the same one. I could be wrong. There might be an older content video. But I'm just trying to understand, why did you come back? Why are you back? Did she even know you were coming back? Or you just surprised her and her husband? Did the husband want you back? Did the mom want you back? Did you offer to pay them rent? Didn't pay. That's what the argument was about. Were you begging for money the night before? We also heard on that same day, she took you to lunch, you and your boyfriend. So how do you go from eating lunch to a missing mom? ID, credit card, and a purse, but yet she's on camera with her purse because you were there. At some point during that day, September 10th, you either rode in a car with Debbie Collier or you met her, you robbed her, tortured her, and killed her. You and your boyfriend. I do believe he's also involved. And to this day, you have not told the general public what you were doing on September 10th, which I find strange. Why not? Instead, you all are talking about you're scared, fearing for your safety. Fear of what exactly? Is someone threatening you? Have you received threatening text messages? A note at the door? People rallying outside with billboards? What? It's BS. As I said, did she show the stepfather the text on the phone? And he never mentioned it while talking to the dispatch. Where was the ID and the credit card at the house? On her dresser, on her bed, nightstand, in a purse, where? You went upstairs when you got to the house, Amanda Bearden. I do believe this is where you planted the ID and the credit card, because you were with the victim, your mother, robbed her, brought all those things back that you wanted to plant to set up this as a random crime when you decided to call the dispatch to say your mother was missing. You knew what you were doing. This was intricately planned. And now I have to ask myself, how long did you have this plan in motion? Was this the very reason you moved back to Georgia, was to kill Debbie Collier? How about that? Is that what we're going to find out? You and Andrew put this plan into motion weeks ago, a month before. Let's go to Georgia and kill my mom and get some money. Wow, it's a nice little ride just to get under $3,000. But as they say, for the almighty dollar, people will do anything. Even if that means filling up the gas tank 3 or 4 times to get $23.85. Rumors is that it's got something to do with his fines. I don't know. Like I tell people, don't really matter to me. It's greed nonetheless, and it's wrong. And the reason won't matter because she didn't deserve to be killed for any dollar amount and for any reason. So long as she wasn't hurting and harming somebody, why are you plotting her death and robbing her? See, you got back after the dad got home. So 9 times out of 10, you knocked on the door, possibly. 601, you make this call. Bingo card. You went in that woman's house, planted those cards, and then called 911 at 6:01 p.m. You were with the victim. That's obvious. And see, that's where you made your mistake. Was 1, planning her murder. 2, sending the text and the money to yourself. Coming back, planning the ID and the credit card. And then calling hours later when you should have called as soon as you got the damn text message. And possibly she'd be alive. But it was a ruse, so nobody would have came to help Debbie Collier anyway. Did the husband ever ask you why you waited so long to call 911? What was your answer if he did ask? Did you give him an answer? Because you've been the one spinning this web pertaining to your mother day one. You've been the only one talking, which I find strange. Because you're the one behind it. That's why you're the one doing all the damn talking. Premeditated, yes. Whether you were in the car or not at the Family Dollar, you requested Debbie Collier to buy those items of a tarp, tote, paper towels, and a lighter. Because you knew you were going to kill her. And that's the sad part of this story. Is that Debbie Collier unwillingly, unknowingly aided her own death by going into the dollar store, going on that trip up the highway. She aided her own death. I wonder, did she have any type of premonition before or on September 10th? That something heinous was about to jump off. Not necessarily thinking she would be murdered, but just a bad feeling. Did Debbie Collier get a bad feeling? Because sometimes people get a premonition that something is awry and something's going to jump off. They don't know what, but they know it's going to be something. What happened the night before with the commotion? Who said what to whom? What happened at that lunch you three had together? What was the conversation? I'd like to be a fly on the wall to see the disposition of everybody at the table. Because what's sickening is you planned this murder of your mother. You're sitting at the table eating her food. 9 times out of 10, she's the one that bought the food. And then in the same breath, you go and kill your damn mama. Hello, Scholar. You told on yourself with the Venmo account. You told on yourself when you said there was nothing but an ID and credit card at the house. You told on yourself initially in the interview about your mom bringing back items from the Family Dollar to clean your apartment. See, I tell you all, everything's in the details. You started this. And you finished it by killing your mother. But where you messed up is that you left a blueprint and you ran your mouth. So you told on yourself. So all this premeditation and planning the murder of your mother was for nothing. because you've given yourself away to where all roads lead to Amanda Beard. And it doesn't matter the motive, it's heinous. What are you talking about, Michelle? You did this to your own mother. So how long has it been that you two have not been right? What brought you to this point that you would plan the death of your own mother? I'm curious. Because you know you're not going to get away with this unless you kill yourself. And I'm sure one of you is going to point the finger at the other when the sheriff shows up with a warrant for both of you all's arrest. I got that funky feeling. It's very sad. It's pathetic. Pathetic more than sad. Because to kill a person for greed is heinous. Sexual assault a victim is heinous. Violating a person's body is heinous. The motive means nothing. Because you don't have the right to physically assault a person and you don't have a right to take their life. You left a paper trail. And you left the paper trail with the Venmo account, telling the investigators about the family dollar items, being the orchestrator of every conversation pertaining to Debbie Collier, making up wild stories about an ex-con and a car accident, planning that ID and credit card at the scene of her home. You did all that on purpose to make this look like a random crime, that the mother just ran out and got kidnapped. You did all of this. This is sad to me. Pathetic. Hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to Eliza Fletcher having fentanyl in her system, the quadruple murder in Merced, California. Suspect attempted to kill himself, and the crime scene pertaining to Debbie Collier. The husband's disposition and the text message sent to the daughter, allegedly by Debbie Collier, suspect to me. That is what I'm discussing in this live. I've basically said all I really want to say pertaining to each case. I do believe this was an orchestrated crime by Amanda Bearden and the boyfriend. I don't know if he was in cahoots all the way at the beginning, but I believe he played a role. Because she's a crybaby, so is he. She would need someone in her corner. And let's just say he didn't help her. She's going to implicate him. If he did help her, he's going to turn on her. Take your pick. But this was an orchestrated crime. And the items used to light her a fire were purchased at that Family Dollar deliberately. And the reason why I say this is because it's obvious. No kidnapper, abductor would have any use for those items if they were in the car at the time that the abductor came in contact with the victim. What reason would the abductor need those items? He or she wouldn't. The fact that they were taken down to the ravine, it was deliberate and purchased deliberately as to aid in setting Debbie Collier afire. That's why they were purchased. Someone orchestrated her to buy them, and I believe it was the daughter. She foolishly bought them, not knowing what was getting ready to happen to her. The only thing that I'm trying to put into my brain is how all this came to be on that day. What was the conversation? What made her get on that highway? For what reason? Was the daughter in the car with her, or followed her, or played stranded at the crime scene? He is possibly disconnected. See, we don't know because we don't know him. And that would be even more disturbing to find that the husband didn't really have a good relationship with his wife. These things do happen. And then she turns up dead. And now, what was a not so great marriage, you now have a dead woman and her daughter as the suspect, she and the boyfriend. One can only imagine what he's thinking now. Damn, we weren't getting along. Things weren't great. Now she's dead. And not just dead from natural causes, but dead from somebody taking her life, possibly her own damn child. The fact that he told the dispatcher the victim didn't have any other family in the area but the daughter. Imagine that. She comes down here all of 2 days, and the mom goes missing and found dead 3 days later. But she was the only biological kin to the mother. You can't make this stuff up. I feel bad for this woman who is no longer living, that she had this daughter who was diabolical. And maybe she saw the signs. Because as I said, many people see signs that people are not right, but they continue to deal with them anyway. They don't think they're going to hurt them or harm them, but hell, they know they ain't right. And I'm sure in a million years, she never thought her own child would kill her. Who would think that? Oh, she's a nuisance. She's worrisome. She's always needing money. She's always getting in trouble. She's always got these boyfriend problems. She's always complaining. But nah, my daughter wouldn't kill me. Oh, but she did. Deep-rooted hate. Been going on for some time. Could be jealous. Could be envy-hearted. Mother doing well, living well. She has not applied herself in the world. Just a bum. Using a 27-year-old. Steal his money from his bank account, getting high every day, doing God knows what in the street. She didn't have a life. Her mother did. Mother had a decent job, decent home, drove a newer car. You're damn right. I guess it is something to be jealous of, envy-hearted. She's doing better than me. But that's your choice. Because you're not supposed to be in competition with your mother any damn way. She's an old woman. Where are her friends, Amanda Bearden? What do your friends have to say about who you are as a person? Do you have any friends? You have any good girlfriends? Who's going to tell us some nice little stories about Amanda besides police reports? Where are Andrew's friends? What do they have to say about him, his disposition? We know that his mother's in jail for making a drug deal, 30 years she's gotten. Where are his brothers and sisters? Will the brother ever speak? Amanda's brother. He's probably baffled. Mom gone. Sister possibly killed the mother. Imagine what he's thinking to himself. Everybody's speculating this and this. Now they're saying my sister killed my mama. That's a lot to digest. That's a lot to digest. Assuming, thinking she killed your mother. And as he said, she's been the longest source of love for him. So now we have to ask, where's their daddy? Do they have the same father? So you have to ask all those questions. Because it's these little things that form the story when you have a victim. Who's who? how long a person was married, how long a person's been divorced, did they have financial problems, who did they get along with, who they didn't get along with, how many marriages did they have, how many children did they have, did they favor one child over the other, did they get along with their other relatives, get along with the neighbors, the co-workers. All that comes out in a story when a person has been murdered. Who's on first, who's on second, who's in their life, who's out of their life, who did they fall out with. All of that comes to fruition once a person has been murdered. You ask all the questions. How did they get to this point to be murdered? Why were they murdered? Very good question. If the accounts are linked, did he get the text? See, that's why I said you don't know what was going on in the 10 minutes that she was in the car. She could have been refuting the Venmo account. Say what now? She could have gotten the notification, such as with Cash App. You get a notification of money being spent from the account. And perhaps that's what she was doing when she was sitting in the car, was disputing the Venmo money. Probably trying to call the daughter to say, what's going on here? I didn't send you any money. Probably calling the support team. The husband said he tried calling her. No answer. So at what time did the husband call the wife? How many times did he call her? Did he call on his lunch? What? Did she call him about the Venmo account? He ain't said nothing. See, you don't know. You're not going to know until the police releases the data. I don't know about anybody being silent, because my thing is this. If I have something I want to say pertaining to a case I think is relevant, I'm going to speak on it. My sister is murdered, I'm going to speak on it. My wife has been murdered, and I'm a man, I'm going to speak on it. I'm going to say, I miss my wife. I want to know what happened. I want justice. That's not giving your opinion about who you think killed her. You're just saying, I want my wife back. I love my wife. I need my wife. Yes, a balance. They did. So that was a good point that the young lady made in the chat. Did he get a notification of the money sent? And did he try to call his wife, but he did not mention any of this during the phone call? Because you remember, he never mentioned anything about the money when he was talking to the dispatcher. Just that a text was sent. He didn't understand what it meant. So I do find it funny that he talks about the text with the dispatcher, but doesn't say, oh, and by the way, my wife allegedly sent her money. So that leads me to believe she never showed him the text in the phone and did not mention that the mother also sent her money, because he, as an adult, would say to himself and to her, why is my wife being held hostage and sending you money? Boom, bang, bingo card. 3 times. Hey, why didn't you call the police? Somebody's got my wife held hostage and she's sending you money. What the F is my wife doing sending you money? And she's been held for ransom or hostage. Make it make sense. So did she tell him everything what was in the text? 2, did she show him the text? Or she just told him the part that she wanted to tell? Because she knew if she told him about the money, he would be suspicious. Why would he not be? Because the first thing he's going to say, well, if this is my wife sending this message, why the hell she's not telling you to call 911 in her location? If they're letting her type on a phone, wouldn't she say, hey, help, I'm on Highway 15, I'm on Highway 18, come get me. Send the cavalry. Stay woke. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you for joining me. Read between the lines. Smoking gun's been there all along. Triple threat. All you have to do is pay attention. The very reason why I tell you, you don't need the gossip. You don't need the rhetoric. All you have to do is pay attention to the details, and there you will see the truth. Is the husband involved in this crime as well? Because if their accounts are linked, then that means also his phone number would be in the itinerary of this card. Mr. Steve would have received a notification of the Venmo money and the text messaging. So now the plot thickens. Are we now saying that the father has knowledge of the Venmo money and the message? And 1, ignored it. 2, didn't care. 3, confronted the daughter about it. She downplayed it. What is the truth? Thank you for joining me. Please hit the link if you have an opinion pertaining to Eliza Fletcher having fentanyl in her system. The Merced quadruple murder. Suspect apprehended in the hospital from a gunshot wound. Attempt on his life. The cryptic message sent to Debbie Collier. What was left behind at the crime scene, which is suspicious to show intent to kill her and set her afire. Packagings of things opened right there by the tree trunk. That's my conversation for this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. All you have to do is hit the link. All of you using touch-tone phones, you just hit the link and it will guide you up. You can either show yourself or not show yourself. Do not use your government name. Thank you for joining me. This is bad. Court TV did a video. Since nobody wants to hit the link, y'all just like me to talk during the lives. There's also information about a serial killer in Stockton. I may chop that up a little bit later. I'll get more information pertaining to some Hispanic men. One, I believe is not Hispanic, been found murdered. Lord have mercy. Mr. AB, those are some great videos you did recently, 2 days ago. I must say I was intrigued by the information. She's going to kill herself. Why does she have to go in the woods to do it? She could have just stayed at home. Yes, she could have. Very true. She could have. Lord, this Darrell Brooks with this Waukesha parade. He's talking, fussing, saying something. Lord Jesus, I don't know what he's saying. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Well, the reasoning for the link is for other people to give their commentary. I don't want to be the only one giving my opinion pertaining to a storyline. It is good to have feedback besides people typing in the chat, because I don't want to sit and read comments. It's not to be rude, but it is more engaging in a conversation when you have people conversating, to hear people give their opinion. Thank you, Earth Dog. Thank you so much for the donation, sweetheart.
insurance cards, including dental.
All right. Since nobody wants to talk, I'll let somebody else spew a story to you.
Bluetooth connected.
No, I have not. Vinnie Politan.
Dollar store at 309, got into her van and remained in her van in the parking lot for 10 minutes before leaving the parking lot and heading south on Georgia 15, Highway 441, US 23.
Okay, that's the video of Debbie Collier, the mom from Georgia, Athens, Georgia, which is where the University of Georgia is, who was found dead in the woods about an hour north of where she lives. It happened on a Saturday, game day. She was dressed in all red, ready for the Bulldogs game at 4 o'clock. I don't know if she ever saw it. I don't think she ever saw it. She was found dead 15 minutes south of that dollar store that she was driving away from. But it was strange, some of the circumstances. Like, why was she even there to begin with? Well, now we've got new video of her actually arriving at the dollar store, and this is at 2:55 p.m. You can see the spotlight. That is her van, SUV van, and I think we'll get to see her walk into the store. There she comes, pulling up. Doesn't like that parking spot. Let me get a closer spot. I do that all the time. Pulls in. Again, Family Dollar. I mean, nothing unusual about this except the fact that it's an hour north of her house. And there's like 15 other dollar stores she could have gone to. Why this dollar store? Why in this part of the state? There you can see she's dressed up. I live in Georgia. She's dressed for the game, folks. Maybe not to go to the game, but maybe to watch the game or listen to the game or meet some people who are going to watch the game. Doesn't make sense to me. Now, let's take a look at the timeline to remind you of everything. Timeline, very important in this case. And it all begins 2:17. Debbie Collier's vehicle is seen traveling northbound on Georgia 15, just north now of where her body is found at the crime scene. 2:55, that's the video you just saw. And then she gets out and she enters the Family Dollar store. She's in there for a little while. At 3:09, she is seen checking out and leaving the store. She bought a blue tarp, a red tote, a lighter. She bought some paper towels. Then at 3:09, she's in her car in the parking lot of the Family Dollar for about 10 minutes. Okay, so that's till 3:19. But at 3:17, this is so significant. A Venmo transaction with that cryptic message we've been talking about sent to Debbie's daughter, Amanda Bearden, for $2,300 and some odd dollars. I think it's $85. 3:19, her vehicle leaves the Family Dollar and heads south on Highway 15. Let's bring in our guests. Our investigators still with us. We need them tonight. Bobby Chacon and Trebor Randall. And joining me now in New York City, senior reporter for the U.S. Sun, Luke Kenton is with us. Luke, great to see you again tonight. Now that we've seen this video of her arriving, once again, tying that timeline together, it seems like she's by herself. There's no indication of anyone else in that video.
Yeah, it does certainly seem that way. You know, we had theorized before on this case, if somebody was perhaps in the back of the car, if that is the case, they have to have entered the car before she pulled into that parking lot, because what we can see from that surveillance camera is that nobody other than Debbie either enters or exits that car at the time that she's parked out front of the Family Dollar store. She kind of enters just after 3 p.m., appears to enter down the side of the McDonald's chain. We don't know if she was in that McDonald's yet. I'm sure that's something police are looking into, but there doesn't seem to be anything overly suspicious in the build-up to her entering that store. And when she's inside the store, as we've seen before, she seems calm and she seems normal.
Now, Luke, when it comes to the other people connected to Debbie, is there a clear picture yet that's been released by investigators about where everybody was that day, everyone else of significance in her life. Her husband, her daughter, her daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah, with Debbie's husband, Steve, he was actually at the game parking cars. He's accounted for between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. that day. Law enforcement sources have said that there's surveillance footage that supports that claim. As for Amanda's whereabouts, I'm not too sure. I'm not sure that's been kind of discussed at length by law enforcement. But we know that she was among the first people to kind of raise the alarm about her mum's disappearance. That came roughly 2.5 hours after she received that suspicious Venmo payment. And that call was made by Debbie's husband, Steve, at his home around 6 p.m.
All right, Trevor Randall, this is your neck of the woods. This is Georgia. What are you thinking about this case? I mean, very strange circumstances. The Venmo message, the Venmo, they won't let me go. The place where she was found, and just the fact that she's an hour north of Athens on game day.
Vinny, from the very beginning, this seemed a little strange to me. I'll admit that to you, starting with the message. Again, having done this in work cases similar to this, I've never had a situation where my victim was able to send a text message to anyone. If they've been kidnapped or taken or just before their murder, that was unusual to me. Usually you only see a phone call if, somebody's holding someone, as we mentioned earlier, for ransom and say, call this person, give them some instructions. Even more unusual, watching her in the store. There is no doubt in my mind that she was not under any type of duress or threat, because she just would not be able to hide that. I assure you, if someone was waiting in the car, for example, or, saying, hey, go into the store, buy these things, don't try anything fishy, right? Like they do in the movies, she would not have been able to remain that calm. However, maybe if somebody that she was familiar with asked her to stop and pick up items that would ultimately be, evidence at a crime scene, she would not have thought of that. You know what I mean? Such as a tarp. I may say, well, what are you going to do with that? But she would not have thought, and she wouldn't have been, hinked up at all if maybe somebody she had known had asked her to stop and just pick up some supplies for them. So from the very beginning, this case started off really, really strange.
Bobby Chacon, we just covered a case where we saw an abduction on video. We saw how it all took place. We've got video here. I don't see an abduction, but that message is kind of strange. But the message seems to be sent from the parking lot. And I don't understand the wording of it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I agree that she doesn't look under duress at all in that store. And so I don't think she was under any kind of duress or threat when she was in that store. She exited the store and then the text takes place. I would be leaning hard on the daughter to say, why did your mother send you this money? Is it your rent? Is it some kind of car payment? Why is your mother sending you this money? Because there is some reporting out there that says the daughter's boyfriend owed criminal fines and penalties in almost that same amount that the Venmo payment is for. And so that's the only connection that I've seen reported so far. But I'd be asking the daughter, what was this money for? Was it for your rent? Was it for your car payment? Why is your mother sending you this money? Exactly. If she doesn't have a good explanation, I'd look a lot closer at it.
And Luke, what are we hearing from the daughter and the daughter's boyfriend? Are they publicly speaking about, where they were or what the Venmo transaction was about or anything along those lines?
After kind of this case became, the national interest story it is now, they were quite vocal for the first few days afterwards. Particularly Andrew Guybridge, who's Amanda's boyfriend, Debbie's daughter. He's spoken quite publicly. As to the Venmo transaction, they haven't really spoken much about, nor have they about their whereabouts. They did say that they'd last seen Debbie the day before she went missing. They said they went out for lunch with her, that she took them out for lunch. That is when they claimed to have last seen her, and I'm not sure if Amanda spoke to her mother on the phone in that time. They haven't specified, but they have been awfully quiet since then. We don't know in this case, who is being treated as a suspect and who isn't, but something that Andrew did say to the press is that he has been interrogated, as has Amanda. Their phones have been seized, and they said they feel as though they're being treated as suspects. We know they served a search warrant at their home 3 days after Debbie's body was found, and we know that they spent 6 hours at her home. What we don't know is what they found, if anything.
All right. Our guests are staying with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about something else that happened to Debbie prior to this, a car accident. That was the reason she was in.
All right, everybody. This is a brief intermission with Vinny Politan and his guests. As you see in the chat, I've asked a few pertinent questions. Why go back to the car if you were kidnapped? Was Amanda in the car? Did she kill her mom alone? Was Andrew in the car too? Common sense would tell you that a second car had to be involved. So they met her at the crime scene, either one or both, because how did they leave the crime scene? There was only one van, and that was the van left behind that the victim was driving and seen on the surveillance video. So that means the culprit or culprits had to have met her at the crime scene and or followed her to the crime scene. Take your pick. One was in the car, one was not in the car. Two was in the car, then that means you have a third person involved. Stay woke now. But somebody had an alternate car because the van was left at the scene. And as I've told you about a carjacker, he or she will ride around, damage the car perhaps, but they will drop the car off close in proximity to where they live as to get home. Nobody's going to steal a car in the middle of nowhere, leave it out there, and then hitchhike or Uber from a crime scene. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $BeganTo129. Cash App, all stickers and chat to welcome. Feel free to hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to the 3 topics in this discussion. Amen.
Generous spirit that I've had.
Okay. 1 second. Giving a brief intermission pertaining to other stories. I will try to bring you content pertaining to the Stockton murders. And someone in the chat said there's an update pertaining to Miss Camille McKinney. I will go into do my research and come back on live a little bit later, perhaps with the said information. Thank you for joining me. Did the daughter commit this crime alone? Did she meet her mother up there, pretending to be stranded, and then she assaulted her mother, killed her mother? All right, resuming.
There is no evidence to suggest or support that this incident was related to a kidnapping or that this was a suicide.
And what they've also said in Harrison County is that they don't believe this is a serial killer either. So I think it's someone that knows the defendant or knew about the victim in this case. Fascinating stuff. We now know that Debbie's husband and daughter both called 911 when they realized that she was missing. But there was an additional call to 911 obtained by FoxNews.com from a woman identifying herself as Debbie's sister, Diane Shirley. Diane told the operator that she had information from her niece that could have something to do with Debbie's disappearance. Take a listen.
From my niece, she said that she was in an accident about a month ago, and she was, on the road. She was following this truck, and this truck lost a paint can, and the paint can hit my sister's car, and the paint went everywhere. And the driver was trying to convince my sister not to tell the cops that he was driving because he was out on parole, and there was, a stipulation to his parole that he couldn't drive.
Could that be connected to all of this in some way? Let's bring back in our guests, Bobby Chacon, Jabor Randall, our investigators, and Luke Kenton, senior reporter for U.S. Sun. Luke, do we know any other details about this accident?
Yeah, when that 911 call was first released, it certainly caused a bit of confusion, but in the days since then, we know that Debbie was involved in a similar accident as to what her sister describes on that call on April 30th. So some information has come out about the person that she was involved in the accident with. His name was Miguel Martinez. He was 48 years old, and he was allegedly driving without a license when the crash occurred. Some sort of metal item fell onto Debbie's car and caused some damage, but nobody was hurt. Miguel Martinez has got previous misdemeanors, allegedly for pulling an ex-girlfriend's hair, and various other things, but there doesn't seem to be anything to suggest that he was actually on parole when that crash occurred. He had been on parole, but I believe that had expired at the time of that accident. There's also been no kind of indication from law enforcement that they're looking into that as a possibility, but who knows at this stage.
Bobby, what does your gut tell you on that one?
It tells me he probably wasn't involved. I mean, they would have, if there was more substantial connection, they would have made it by now, and they would have connected him to a parole violation, a potential parole violation that he did not want to go back to jail. I think if that was there, if there was any substance there, they probably did look into it, follow those leads, and probably dismiss them.
Trebor, I want to get back to where she was. I can't get my head around it because of the timeline. She's an hour north of where she is, and she's 15 minutes away from the dollar store, but doesn't get there until 45 minutes later. Like, to me, the key to uncovering part of this is trying to understand why she was there to begin with and where she was just before she went to the dollar store, because she's on George 15. Just 15 minutes away from there, from the dollar store, but it's not till 45 minutes later that she gets there.
I agree with you. That makes no sense. And timelines are incredibly important to our investigations. You have these mysteries that you've got to unravel. As we mentioned earlier, I think she was following specific instructions that were given to her. That cell phone evidence is going to be incredible. Undoubtedly, I would venture to say that is what gave them the probable cause they needed to search the daughter's residence, is what was on the cell phone. And you have to keep in mind, a lot of people do not understand that just because you delete messages and it's not physically located in the screen of your phone, it does not go away.
Not so loud, Trebor. The criminals might be listening tonight. Don't let them know that. Wow. So, Luke, the other part of this that I'm trying to understand, and is anyone connected to that area? There's a rehab that is close to where her truck was found. What do we know about that rehab, and was there any connection to anyone in Debbie's life?
So the rehab facility that was located nearby is I believe, a male-only facility. We don't know if there's any direct connection with this case with that facility, but we do know that drugs have come up a few times in this case. In one kind of domestic incident between Amanda and Andrew, that's Debbie's daughter Amanda, from September to last year, Andrew says to police that he accuses Amanda of stealing money from him, $500 to $600 a month to buy drugs, and then accuses her of possibly being on drugs at the time of the dispute. Again, we don't know if that's true, but that footage has been released. Also with Andrew, something that I uncovered this week, that his mum was actually sentenced to 30 years in jail last year for attempting to sell meth. So drugs and money have come up in this case lots of times, but there's nothing at the moment about what we know about this case to link anything to that facility, but it certainly is an interesting coincidence.
Absolutely is. And again, we will continue to follow all the developments in this case. Big thank you tonight to Luke Kenton from the U.S. Sun senior reporter, and of course our investigators tonight, Bobby Chacon and Trebor Randall. Thank you both so much. We'll see you again really, really soon, and hopefully there are more developments here and we can solve.
All right, everybody. That's Court TV. I'd like to know, why do you all always assume because something is nearby a crime scene, it has to be related? I'm just curious. Rumors about a halfway house. You wouldn't have even thought about that had you not known that the daughter was a drug addict. So basically, what are you saying? You're saying that the boyfriend's a drug addict then, to imply he was going there. Who told you he was going there? He didn't tell you that. Because one, he's never told you that he's an addict. He's never told you he's an addict. He's never told you he's used drugs. So why are some of you assuming that it would be he was going there, needed to pay to go there? Think about what you're saying. I don't understand where y'all get this stuff from. I don't know. She could have went there for work. I don't know. She lived here. Feel free to hit the link. The link is in the chat. I'll put the link in the chat again. But I don't know how anybody could assume he was going to a rehab center. Do they look like they want to get help to you if indeed he is an addict alongside Amanda? You seem to forget why they're there, why the woman's dead. She's dead because they wanted her money. And I don't see anybody killing somebody for money to pay for somebody to go to rehab. That makes no logical sense. One, I ain't been wanting help, so I'm going to now kill my mother to send my boyfriend to rehab. That is the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. I don't know why I keep saying wrong link. This is crazy. I'm putting down. This is strange. Hold on, you guys. I don't know why this keeps saying that. This is peculiar. Okay, hold on. Let me regroup. I'm writing it down, and it, for some reason, I don't know why it won't. Still an error. That's strange. Okay. Let me try it again. This is very peculiar to me because I'm writing down what it says. I don't know why it won't. Hold on one second, you guys. Unless there's something wrong with this link. Let me try it again. It's very odd. Maybe the colons got mixed up. It's very weird. This only happens when I go live. Y'all know this. Lordy me. All right, try that. I don't know what's the problem. This is weird. Why it won't work? It's very strange. Well, I know I can see. It's very weird. You know I don't know how to do that. I've been on this live for a year, and I've tried doing that. Somebody have to show me how to do it because I have attempted to do that. Okay, thank you. Maybe the colon was off. It may have been the colon was off. Strange. Here's AB.
Yeah, that one works fine.
Guys. Okay, we got a little talk about something. There was some confusion earlier this morning about you.
How about me?
Yeah, some people believe that you were in my chat hiding yourself as a Savannah.
No, that's just a troll trick.
Yeah, and I let this Savannah have her way because some people thought it might have been Amanda or Andrew. Like I told them, I don't care.
I think I was probably listening to that in bed last night. That's what you're talking about.
Oh,
I was in and out. I wasn't in chat. I was just listening loosely in bed. Someone was probably trolling me in your chat, thinking I was in here.
Yeah, and I said, well, AB knows how to come up as himself. I don't think he needs to pretend to be Savannah. Hello, She Lived Here. How are you?
I'm great. Can you hear me?
Where are you calling from? Wait. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Chicago.
Welcome. She lived here. Tell me what you think about the text message and the crime scene, of what was left at the crime scene, and the text message itself, and the fact that the victim, if she sent it, why wouldn't she say call 911 and give her location instead of sending money? Go ahead.
Well, I have maybe I find that to be very curious in nature, but one thing I would like to say, as humans, we are creatures of habit. So we do things, on a continuous basis. And it seems to me that Debbie was a person of habit. So she went to work, she came back. I do find it kind of odd about the Venmo. I think that is what is throwing me completely off about the case, is the Venmo. And seeing if her daughter did do something to her, why would she kind of put herself in that place to be a suspect? And so I know it had to be someone that she knew, but what keeps getting me is the fact that her husband account was linked with hers. And I know anytime that there is any type of transaction, then you're going to receive a notification. And in an amount of $2,000, I would suspect that the husband would say, "Hey, what's going on?" and would try to reach out to the spouse. But we didn't hear any information about the spouse having any contact with his wife during the whole day. I find that to be suspect as well.
No, he did
That
say
the
he tried
last time
calling.
you,
He did tell the dispatcher that he did try calling her that day. I don't know if that's true.
yeah, but I don't, unless highly profile individuals, and what I mean by that is someone that has a high profile position that you're kind of in and out of your house, so you maybe not see your spouse as much. It seemed that they didn't hold those type of positions. So if the last time that you laid eyes on your spouse was at 9 o'clock at night, you didn't see her in the morning, you assume she was still sleeping, I would think that you would make some type of communication with her prior to the daughter saying there's something going on. So that makes me
So you're
very
thinking, so you're thinking that
suspicious.
what? All morning, afternoon, he never called his wife to say hello. They never held a conversation. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that never was indicated in any report.
No, it wasn't. So why is that? A man has not talked to his wife.
Venmo?
Maybe
I find
it was
that
a
to
run
be
over.
strange.
Yeah, I found that strange too. Like that he didn't know what was going on with her that day, seeing how they were what did they talk about the night before? Usually you're talking about what's going on the next day a little bit.
Right. Are we talking about a man who's been disengaged with his wife and vice versa? They're living two separate lives in a house for whatever reason. It's more to it than just his snoring, that they're in separate rooms. They really don't talk. They're just playing house.
Yeah, it's more of a security thing, potentially,
Yes.
probably.
Mhm.
Although Steve probably legitimately loves his wife. And
excuse me.
Maybe he doesn't, when it comes to her past and her kids, maybe he tries to stay out of it.
Stay out of it. Yes, I thought of that too.
A certain
Yes.
extent, and he doesn't know the nuances of the relationship, or he knows how maybe manipulative it is from afar, because he's offering up a lot of his generosity. If he's on the deed to the homes in which they're renting from and not paying anything, well, you can guess from there with a great degree of accuracy about what the resentment is underlying in that
Yes,
household.
exactly. Because we have to use a common sense right now. If rent is high, so to let somebody come stay on your property when people are fighting to get people out of their property would really be ass backwards.
That's ridiculous. The rent is so high now.
Yes, it is.
It's so bad. Why can't these people just get a mortgage? That's the difference.
Yeah, but maybe it's their credit, because you have to have good credit to get a loan from a bank.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
I know
that's why a lot of people are.
It's not
Drugs
a
as
blanket stipulation, but I was
You
just
have to
saying
think
if they can meet that
drugs.
demand each and every month for their rent, then Why not,
Yeah.
right?
See, that's what we need to know is what's the dynamic between the two, the husband and the wife? What was the dynamic between the daughter and the stepdad? What all did she tell him about the Venmo? Because we do know he never mentioned to the dispatcher about the 2385.
We know what
He only
she
says, I don't
didn't
understand the message.
Why didn't he repeat the information if it was such a serious situation?
Because she didn't
He's
tell him
going to-
everything, AB.
Exactly.
She didn't tell him everything.
Fucking little. She's a manipulator every
Yes,
step of the
she
way
is.
here. She's
Yes, she is.
she's controlling the flow of information to certain people in the immediate family.
Exactly.
To try to get the heat off herself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Why? Because she has guilty knowledge.
Yes, she does.
Absolutely.
Yes. I do believe she carried
But you know what?
the credit cards from the victim and
also
took them
that-
back to the house and put them in that purse. That's why she was late getting there.
know what
He was
I-
there before she got there. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. She lived there.
That I found to be very the
She's breaking up. Hello?
I think you're breaking up. She lived here. Are you in a good Wi-Fi area?
yeah, but think about that. So, one thing that I picked up in the call is he was very calm in the call.
Yes, he was.
Which doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't. Because we've learned this.
I'm
You can't tell sometimes.
sorry, can you
Yeah, you're having problems. You're gonna have to try to come back
Sorry,
in
can
because
you-
you're breaking up. I want to read Daniel's comment. Can you reset the notification for Venmo to only be sent to the device it was sent from? I think Amanda sent it from a different device, not Debbie's phone. Perhaps you're right. I did Google search about that Venmo.
They
and
haven't said yet.
It's public.
They haven't said.
It's public knowledge that you can just go and find people's information, which I find that baffling that you can just go see who sent whom what. Did you know that, AB?
Yeah, we had that. That was because that is how Trizell West got his donation back in the Orson West case, and you could see that for whatever reason.
Okay.
They're open
Okay.
messages on
Yes.
with accompanying certain. I guess
Yes.
it's for transparency.
Yes,
or
they said
whatever.
you can change the settings to non-public. Cash App says automatically when you're doing your transaction, nobody has access to see your information, which is a good thing. Because then that means they'll be able to read the text messaging too. Duh.
So
the crime scene is another puzzle. Not a puzzle for me that bothers me. When I look closely at the picture, besides
I think that is the scene of the crime.
you know, they tore up the paper that lighter came out of. That lets me know right then, like I already said, that this was deliberate. You took everything down to the scene in that tote, pulled everything out, wrapped her up, opened the lighter, left the paper behind, and then tried to set all that shit ablaze with the victim. Man, this is really diabolical. Go ahead, AB.
I think they're watching a lot of movies probably and had it in their head exactly how they would get away with the perfect murder, and or better yet, how they wouldn't get caught.
Yeah, but she messed up when she did the Venmo. She could have possibly gotten away with this had she turned off devices, met the mom. But see, that's the thing that you have to remember. You're going to have to use an alternate phone to do the texting because all that can be retrieved, your text messages, your location.
So what happened? How did Debbie leave that house that day? That's a piece of information. we
Yeah,
need to
that's what
know,
I'd
and
like
that's
to know.
gonna
I
come
want to know the
through.
roots. I want to know what was the conversation the night before, who was arguing, who said what to whom to get her on the highway to go wherever she was going. What did you tell her? Hey, I'm going over here. Hey, let's go here together. We know that somebody had to have an alternate car. That's very important because the van is the only car on the scene. That means the perpetrators had to have a way out of there. Out of there. So how did they get out of there?
I wonder who ever is in cahoots in their inner circle, because I think the meth circle goes a little bit larger than just his mom, and she is in that. You know, they're all
That's
well
right.
aware of
We
one
don't know
another.
who called who to get them down here. See, that's another thing, how they get here. Do they have a car? Whose car is it? Why are you here? What are the odds your mother goes missing and dead 3 days later? I mean, you have to ask all those questions. Are we talking about 3 people involved?
Who else would have a lot? I wonder who else would have resentment. Steve shares a bank account with Debbie. You think that he would have the answers to a lot of this stuff for police?
Yes.
And that's probably why he's only saying a certain amount.
And I do agree that he should have gotten a notification about the Venmo. And I think he would have been definitely calling her to say, what the hell's going on here? What are you doing sending her money? Or would he care? See, because I don't know him.
Yeah, well, there would have been conversation over $2,400 is nothing to sneeze at, especially when you have a mortgage to pay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bills.
And he's probably paying mortgages if he don't outright own the properties.
Right. He's doing a certain degree of charitable work, which is being taken for granted. By the children.
Yes.
It always gets to be that way. You don't hold it over their head. You just let's stop this behavior as soon as possible. It's healthier for everybody. What has to happen here. But usually what happens is that one of the children have a dependency on a substance and it's just destroyed their life.
Yes. I want to know what happened with the brother too. What is the storyline and the truth of how these people came to come to Georgia? What happened in Maryland?
Well, let's go back. Let's go back before that. You can look at the whole circle. So let's look back as far as we can. We know that they left Maryland. Let's go back to their last summer of 2021 when all of this was going down from May throughout the whole summer to July when his mom was getting busted for drugs and he was having fights with his old lady and whatnot. Like he's under a strange delusion. There was a no contact order that was signed back then. So whatever, there's confusion with that no contact order. Why did they reconcile and go back together? That probably all that drama pulls your families in.
Yes, it does. Because you're going to call somebody and complain and make up stuff. And we know she's a liar. So she's called Debbie and made up all
triangulating like crazy, that's all I think that probably Amanda does is triangulate to as many people that will listen to it in her life. And then people try to pick up about what's really factual,
But your kids. Let me tell you something. You know your children better than anybody at some point in life. You know your children and you know about what to expect from them.
Yeah.
I am not going to sit here and believe she didn't know that this girl was a menace and that she stayed in drama. She could not have came to Georgia. If she wanted to come because she's an adult on her own, that's fine. But you would not have gotten any help from me because what I have to tell myself is this. That comment he made to the officer when he had that camera on him and he said, you had the mom, they've lied on me, blah, blah, blah. Why the hell would I want that drama to happen to my husband?
We have an answer from Andrew in that regards from MMA 125. 10 to Life made that. Yesterday, I mentioned that people were in my comment section talking about how Andrew was going around talking it up in people's comment section, responding to people.
Yes.
And then 10 to Life verified that through her, through license, et cetera, et cetera. So it is him. So he's got an answer to this, apparently, the question that we're pondering right now.
Okay.
And I thought it was funny because I'm like, well, first of all, you should probably, it is what it is. He's reacting. So he said that Amanda missed her mom.
I saw that somebody said that in the chat, and that's why I asked somebody where you're getting that from.
Bullshit.
Let me tell you something. This is what's dangerous. This is starting to look like some bullshit out of Hollerville with this jumping in the chat. That is the worst thing you can do when you are under scrutiny, perhaps by law officials, is to venture your dumb ass over to social media and start trolling the chats and commenting. You are a dodo bird. You don't need to be near nobody's social media page or channel.
That's evidence, or at least it gives the detectives a good idea of what to fuck with you next.
Yes, because let me tell you what's getting ready to happen, and it's already didn't happen. Somebody's called the police because people love calling the police department. You think one of these busybodies in the chat ain't called the Habersham to say, he's in the chat, he's in the chat. So now they're going to be watching that girl's channel to see any odd comments. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they'll hone in on him, and I think
He's
even as
stupid.
innocent of an answer as him going on and telling him the reason why Amanda moved back,
I would
because
have never done that.
that's a big
I would have never
that's a
done
big
that.
mistake, because
Yeah.
it's going to set you up down the road in that
Yes, it is.
investigation room, and they're going to
Yes.
hit you blindsided with something
Yes.
that you didn't expect.
Yes.
Guilty or innocent, it's going
And
to
you're
make you
already
look
talking
bad.
about you're scared. So why would you be in somebody's chat so these people can double back and say, hey, we need to talk to you again? Why are you over there messing with them people on YouTube? So like to me, you have bigger fish to fry. You're so damn scared.
However, it is fitting to the type of individual I thought Andrew was, because he's just a young buck. He's just a kid in his 20s.
Yeah, he's a kid still. Yeah. Yeah.
So you can expect he's
Stupid.
going to make us. He can't hold himself back and restrain himself. He has to
Yeah.
react
Well,
a little bit. You
well,
expect
guess
it.
what?
However, it's
What did I
going to
do?
work against him in the long run.
As I said this morning, knock, knock. Who's there? The sheriff. You know the rest. Mm-hmm.
It's all right.
That's
He's
how
got
that's
his front
gonna
door
go.
barricaded.
Right. You're barricaded, but you sure been seen in all these news articles of pictures of you walking around and, like you said, getting chicken and this and that. Don't look. It
reminds me of a comic. It's like an old comic from Bugs Bunny. You could see it, like him with the door barricaded, but he's hanging out the window telling the guy about it and is whispering in his ear, "It's okay. I've got my door barricaded. They can't get me."
Pass me a chicken wing through the window.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. See, I don't think that Andrew's going to be the mastermind here. I think
No, maybe
that,
not. Maybe not.
Like
But he's
everything else in his
gullible.
life, it's
He's
going to
gullible
be Amanda.
for the very reason, like you
comically
said,
gullible.
he's back with her, so he's easily manipulated.
Yeah.
That's proof.
Oh shit! Why do you think he's around? He's easily manipulated. If
Uh-huh.
you couldn't manipulate Andrew, she wouldn't have any time for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Andrew, she's 10 years
Because you need the
senior.
patsy, and everybody knows that in the drug game, you need somebody gullible and willing to go along with the flow.
Yeah. You're going to take the fall for me should something go wrong.
Yeah.
In other words.
Yeah, because
And
that's
if
what's
you-
getting ready to happen with the two. It's getting ready to be pointing fingers soon as the rest come. And whoever takes the plea, whoever first talks is the one that gets the plea. So Andrew will probably be the first to say, wasn't me, it was all her idea. I told you, I keep getting myself wrapped up in the stuff, and I know what I did was wrong, and I should have said something, blah, blah, blah.
How many times have you seen in other cases where there's a young couple involved, or a jilted lover, or somebody who's under the guise of love, that is under the delusion set forth by the person they're in love with about either a family member, a significant other, and then their loved one carries out some sort of violent act or kills that particular person, and the story was bunk to begin with. It wasn't even actually factual. The person wasn't abusive, or the person wasn't so-and-so. It was just to make that individual that you're with, it was a sympathy play, in other words, or
Chris
some
Watts,
sort of
Chris Watts' mother, perfect example. Enabler. Perfect enabler. Perfect enabler.
I'm not sure I know his
Well,
name.
let me ask you this. What role, with all that's been said now, what role do you think the husband plays as far as the storyline?
Steve, I'm still going to stand by at this point in time. Anything can happen, remember, but I'm still going to say that Steve is a somewhat innocent bystander in all of this. And he's been, this isn't his doing, but that of Amanda outwards.
Okay.
He's
Do you
just
believe it's a
relaying
third
information.
party?
Yeah, he's a third party, and he's
No, I mean
being-
another third party, not him.
Oh yeah, that third party is not Steve.
But do you believe there's a third party?
Oh, about 3 and 4. There's probably another 2 people.
Oh Jesus, why you say that?
It's probably just the clique that they're particularly in. I think that there's some
But
sort
listen to what you're saying, though. But listen to what you're saying. They just got here now. You got to remember, at that time, they just touched down soil. Not saying that they don't know people in Georgia, but you just touched down. You want me to believe they went and found some people to help them with this crime days into touching down.
You can get a favor. You can get a ride. You can con somebody for a ride, and the next thing they know, they're into something they'd never expected.
Right. An hour and a half out of the way.
Yeah.
Think about that.
They need a
Who's
ride
taking you an hour and a half out of
has
the
got-
way?
Either maybe it was somebody they knew that was up there that could give them a ride.
Yeah.
That would be far away from
That
the
sounds more
situation
like it,
enough
too.
that they could utilize them.
Yes.
And nobody would be any the wiser.
Okay. Let's talk about Eliza Fletcher for just a second. You had mentioned the fentanyl. I did the research. I gave everybody the lowdown on what fentanyl is. Huh?
Yeah, I wasn't making it up, was I?
No. And I gave everybody the rundown about fentanyl, what it does, how it's made, blah, blah, blah. Patches, chews.
Synthetic heroin.
Okay. Also injected, snorted. How do you think he gave it to her?
Oh, injected.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that goes back to what I said in the beginning when I said I believe he's an addict from when I saw that girl talking to the news reporter.
Well, injected in a...
Go ahead.
Actually, sorry. It could be that it was in water. Maybe she metabolized it because they measured the metabolite in it. So it's difficult to sit there and get a vein from a person that's under duress and potentially get them, right in their bloodstream. Okay, part of my set. But you can put, and it would be just as effective can you stop? To sedate somebody.
Yeah.
Through just like drinking it or ingesting it that way.
Why do it though? Why? Just out of meanness?
Because in his mind, it goes along with the fantasy. Drugged, bound. Like when you know that they're drugged, you know that the person isn't going anywhere or doesn't have a great thought process where they're going to have the energy.
You beating them up kind of helps. It kind of helps too, because after you've been beat a few times, you probably don't have the strength to fight back depending on the blows you've taken.
Well, she had two fractures in her head, and I think that
that's what I'm
those were
saying.
Probably the first ones.
Yeah.
And that he kept her. Well, there's always a chance of coming back, like into. Without any drugs in your system. And she was that scared running on adrenaline. That's a strong possibility. So the drugs would have inhibited any of that sort of reaction.
Let's go here. The 24 minutes that they have him on surveillance, it dawned on me today, perhaps that's what he was doing too, was sitting there getting high, geeked up. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
we don't really know what he was doing in the car.
Getting all messed up for about days previous to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Either looking for her or looking for a victim and or getting high, and then boom, she walks by. So we don't really know because he hasn't spoken.
That frustration is just building.
Okay. Quadruple murder out of California. This is a doozy.
The quadruple murder is, I watched that yesterday. It was very, very disturbing to me, especially that it's so senseless. We don't know if this dude even had a reason for it.
Yeah, well, they got him on camera with the ATM card. So he get 3 adults.
Just a robbery.
He gets 1 card. He's on camera. He confesses to his family. I played all this in the beginning of the video. He confessed to his family, and then once approached by law official, he attempts to kill himself. Now put that on paper.
He's pretty stable, isn't he?
Guess what? They've only been in business a week.
Jesus, Murphy.
Yeah. 1 week. 1 week. So you've been watching. So that means you're a lurker. You lurk around that property because the fence goes all the way around the sidewalk and to the business, right? So there's a busy street, but when they zoomed in, I could see that the fencing is blocked by some type of shield that goes all around. It's like brownish, reddish, and I don't know if it's plastic or tarp or whatever, but it goes all the way around the fence. So people riding by on the street going 50 miles an hour, they're not paying attention to the business because there's a tarp thing blended in with the fencing. But I do remember seeing from the overhead camera, I said, oh my God, there's a street. But then when they zoomed in, I said, oh, they're not going to see through that because there's some type of tarp attached to the fence. So he's been watching these people, and I think he did a dry run. I think he's been there before, watched, saw what they had, who's all coming and going, and made his mark on that morning at 9 o'clock.
I thought it was a trucking company. Isn't it like a delivery company?
Supposedly, yes. But what I'm saying is, I don't know what I'm going to walk in on. So I'm thinking still a dry run. You've still been in there before. You've watched, you've done something. I don't think you just walked up that day and said, I'm going to rob these people. Because you don't even know who's all there.
I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like he really had it well thought out. He doesn't have any regard for human life. Christ, he killed a baby, a woman, 2 men. He was going to kill himself.
But I found that strange you would kill yourself. But I know why he did that, because he has a previous charge from 2005 where he was convicted of kidnap and robbery. He did 10 years, got out in 2015. So he's done what I've always said they do. They cross over to murder because I don't need you testifying against me where I end up getting a
probably wants to go back in.
longer sentence.
Go back into the prison.
Why would he want to go back? He just killed it. He tried to kill himself.
Well, if you're homeless, if you're fucking homeless and you're at the ends, like 3 meals a day to a place that you don't think is going to be so bad, if you go in there as a triple murderer and people, you might get some street cred inside, you know?
Yeah, but if I was going to, but think about what you're saying. If I want to go back in, I'm not going to kill myself.
That's true.
Why would I kill myself? Why did I
think it's just a ploy. Maybe it's just a ploy in a standoff.
I find it interesting that he confessed to his family. I said, this is the weirdest story. This is another weird story. And I also think that people are watching other stories on the news and copycatting them. Because I thought that last night when I was listening to the news about the kidnapping and everything and the sheriff speaking, I said, you know what? All this stuff sounds copycat from other stories. But then too, he's done this before, robbed somebody, kidnapped somebody. So I'd like to know who that person is.
If he went on a dry run, that's a pretty ridiculous thing to do. You're taking a big risk with 4 people. Ideally, you would have.
Well, there's another suspect. They're looking for somebody else.
Oh, really?
But this is the clincher. When you watch the surveillance video, you don't see another person. So what made you all think there's somebody else involved? Because when you watch the surveillance, all you see is him walking with the bag of recycled items, the guy taking them. Then he's walking up the ramp, pulls out the gun, goes inside. They come out the back door 2 at a time. He drives off in the truck, returns 6 minutes later, and then the lady exits with the baby, and the baby's held in front of her. So I also like to know why the hell she didn't run out of there. Why didn't they all try to jump him? And he had knowledge that the girl was there because he came back and got the girl and the baby.
Do they associate it to any sort of cartel or gang activity?
All we know is that new business, American dream to have a business. So far, no connection that anybody knew anybody. I didn't know if maybe this is religions because they're not what I would say. They're not white people.
Well, they're Hindu. They're
okay. So I said maybe it's personal. Maybe it was personal.
Or Sikh. There might be Sikhs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But he's Hispanic. So hell, he's just as foreign as they are to some people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. It's like, what the hell? But I was thinking that more or less like it was so morbid that this could just be a rogue actor.
I know what you're saying. It could be. It could be just on that day he decided to rob somebody
from like a cartel, and nobody wants to associate themselves with him because now he's just acting. He's spilling the beans, spilling the tea, so to speak. Nobody wants to associate with him.
So where has he been staying? Is he actually homeless?
I don't know. I can't say that, but
because he can't. I don't think he's too homeless that he can go confess to somebody. Because a lot of homeless people don't have contact with their family. You know that. So that's what you have to set up as a dynamic. So where was he living? Who's he been staying with?
Or what's he considering his family? What's he considering his family? Are you considering your gang family your family?
I don't know, but they said family. He confessed to his family that he did it. So obviously they released his photograph. Somebody saw the picture, called in, told, and that's how they were able to find him. Now, where they tracked him down, I do not know, but I just think it was interesting. This was quick on the gun to find him.
Did they say where they found him?
I didn't hear where they found him.
Was it near the bodies? I wonder.
Well, see, that's another interesting thing. Now, the sheriff says this is rural where they were found. Nobody's out there except for people that live out there. But it was 6 minutes away from the business. So that means that place has got to be near a rural community because you can see on the camera, they're clocking it, take them out, come right back 6 minutes later to get the girl and the baby, the lady and the baby. So that means that construction site or whatever that business is, trucking company, it's right on the edge of a rural community. Because they said all the bodies were near each other. Devices were thrown out on the road, their phones. And then, too, he set that truck on fire that he took the victims in.
Jesus. Oh, Lord. So why would he go through all of that and then just turn in and confess?
That's why I'm sitting here saying it doesn't make any sense. And it's not to say that people who attempt to kill themselves. Never killed random people.
He was on some sort of he was on a heavy drug binge, and when he started coming off it and he started realizing the gravity of what he did, it just wore on him.
He's probably on what we were just talking about, some fentanyl, heroin, and he was looking for a fix that morning. He's up walking around trying to see how he can get his next high. And oops, let's go over here. Ain't nobody around. I've been watching these people. See, we don't even know what's been really going on because 1 week is not a long time to just get robbed 1 week into it, opening up something. And I won't doubt he's brought recyclables before or wanted to get recycled, however it went. I just got a feeling he's watched these people in that little short amount of time.
Well, he probably saw them as a very easy target, considering maybe that their English and their connections weren't very good.
Yeah.
To him, that they semed like a target.
But they had a conversation because you can see on the video when he's bringing the bag or whatever, he's they've said something to each other. But it's just sad nonetheless. But it's weird when you think they just opened the business. So you're now sitting here thinking, okay, was this just random or he's watched them? He had them hung around that place because they show him walking on the side of that fence, and he walked all the way around that fence into.
Well, what went wrong? What do you think? You'd have to go back and figure out what his actual intent was to begin with. Was it to get money out of them, or was it to carry out murder? Did he succeed? I think it was. I think it's just like what I've always said about people who commit crimes and don't want to be apprehended. Number two, I've done this already. I did 10 years and was paroled, mind you, paroled. I ain't going back. I ain't going back. Yeah, so
that's why Cleota killed that white girl. I ain't going back. So he thought. But he stupidly kidnapped her on a damn camera, under a camera.
Why don't they ever say that before they do the crime?
Well, because they don't care.
That's what bothers me in this whole process.
They
One step too late.
They don't care. And this case is bothering me like Eliza Fletcher's. This Debbie Collier just eats away at me because it's like, this is the perfect crime because you trust people at some point. I don't care if it's the cable guy. I don't care if it's your sister.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
I don't care. Yes, everything's about trust. Everything's about trust.
When somebody takes advantage of that trust openly, that's the worst kind of fucking crime. In my mind, that's first degree in my mind.
That's the neighbor knocking on the door and eating sugar, or you ask somebody for battery cables, or you're not thinking that, okay, I'm offering my battery cables, I'm getting ready to get thrown in my trunk or my car. You have to lure
you into some sort of torture chamber.
Yeah. And what's worse is you're going to be beware of strangers, right? We still break down and deal with people, even though they're strangers, but your family, even if you know they're a menace, you're still not thinking the day you invite your brother over, he comes over for whatever reason. At that moment, he's getting ready to cut your damn throat and rob you.
Yeah. It makes me, when I'm listening to these things, that's just why I got these little knives everywhere.
Oh my God.
These little throwing knives. I'm like, just in case, I pretty much have it in my mind what I need to do. So if somebody sneaks up behind me, I have something in front of me at all times.
So do you have one in your pocket right now?
Actually, I got like 6 right here.
Oh,
here,
Lord.
Put them together for you.
He said, so terrifying. Makes me not want to leave my house or be around anyone. Yes, because the crimes now are so brazen. As you see here, 9 o'clock in the morning. Damn, most people haven't even had a cup of coffee and you're already kidnapping people.
This is every so often there seems to be something that seems so brazen that you said, whether it be the kidnapping of a child, like somebody rolls up in a van and just tosses somebody in, wrestles them.
Yes.
That's shocking.
And let's go here with Vinnie Politan. He said this. I believe this was him that said this. He said, really, kidnappings are rare in America, at least 100 a year or something like that. Just random. So now put that on paper.
100 random. That wouldn't seem so random. That would seem like a lot to me anywhere.
Well, you got to count how big the United States is, though. With 100.
Well, I know 380, 400
in a
million
city
people.
like New York's got what, 10 million or more people. So 100 ain't really a whole lot.
But the act, in my mind, the act is so heinous,
it
so
is
wrong, and against everything. There should be zero. but
most state laws have stipulated that if I make you move 2 feet, that's kidnapping. I actually have to pick you up, bind you, put you in a room, a tub, a trunk. I could just walk in the room right now and tell you get from behind the counter with a gun. That's kidnapping.
Yeah.
So the laws have changed what the stipulation of what kidnapping really is.
So, yeah, you don't have to take me anywhere tied up.
Yeah, I don't have to take you anywhere. I can just tell you to move. Get over here. Get in a corner.
Under like a gun.
Yeah, with a weapon. Yes. So it's still scary.
What did it used to be? That would be aggravated battery, aggravated. Well, it depends what you were going for. That would just be part of aggravated robbery or something.
Yes,
like that, wouldn't it?
But you know, the laws are baffling with the judges because you've been doing this a long time. Once you become a judge, you got to quit letting these people get out. You can't sit here and say to yourself, oh yeah, I know she's going to be rehabilitated. You know the stats of sexual assault, child molestation, rape, kidnapping. Why are you letting the people parole? Why are you letting the people get out? Because what they do is they say, I ain't going back. I've got this in me. I've got this compulsiveness to do this.
Well, do you know where things go wrong? You know where things go wrong is right on that parole board, Queen. When they have this underlying principle that really fucking doesn't work, okay? And they live and die by it because these institutions are meant to rehabilitate the most serious of offenders. And we have been voted here, or, you know, that's blickets. People lie. People are going to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah. I got to say, whatever
they go out,
get out too.
The recidivism rate is going to be through the roof. That's
They
where
say
the problem
America
lies in the
only.
system.
America only has the highest rate
because it's a business
going in and out.
When it becomes a private business to institutionalize these people, you don't quite know what you're getting or the effect.
But
because
guess
now
what?
you're
They don't have the money, though. Let's be truthful. The prisons in the United States or anywhere will not have enough money to call every fucking guy and girl into a room and have a counseling session, give them a certificate of, oh, you completed this. You already know they don't got the money for that. That's why I don't know why people think they're going to be rehabilitated.
Well, all of a sudden,
heinous crimes.
You're putting all of this free training into people who have fucking just made the system an abomination. And here we have people that are struggling to even get into college to try to get themselves into a system. It's not right.
So it doesn't make any sense then to have them take a course in the college. I mean, in the prison to only come out and kill somebody or cut somebody's throat. So what's the purpose of a law degree and you come out here and kill some damn body, or you got a degree in engineering?
Yeah, he's got a street degree. Well, there's things that you can do that are exceptions to that rule. There's all kinds of things I think you can do in prison to be to help your fellow man, i.e. in there, because there is a lot of people in there that shouldn't be in there. Now, that said, I think in my mind that yes, these institutions are necessary. We need them, but you have to rethink how you sentence these particular individuals. But you can't control people. It's one of the hardest things to do in a free society, right? At the end of the day, things are going to fucking happen based on people's immediate
I don't see rape, child molestation getting any treatment or changing. And therapists have told people they can't be reformed, these type of crimes. These type of things you're doing.
You just said something very important there. However, from what we know over the past 100 years, and you know, in the 1950s, they started shutting down all of these asylums and institutions where they would send them, you know, whether it be juveniles, that's where you need to get them, not after the fact that they're full-grown adults that need to make ends meet. Like, you're never going to take that out of society. The poor stealing bread, you have to get them at the right age.
Right. And maybe that's what should have happened with Cleotha. You know, had somebody intervene to see why he was acting out so much in school and getting in trouble with the law and violating. Maybe he right now would be a productive citizen, but he didn't get any help. And the mother should have asked the courts. He needs some type of mental help because he can't stop getting into trouble.
I'd say that dude needed fucking mental help right away.
And I don't want you coming back to my house after you've been arrested 10, 15 damn times before he caught the kidnapping charge. Because let's just keep it real with Cleotha.
Well, if you're going to put any money into a particular individual at any point in their life, the earlier the better, and especially around the juvenile areas when you're trying to. That's when all of this psychiatry really needs to be put to like the rubber.
But you also got to have a parent that cares. If you don't have a parent that cares, it's not really the system, the judges, and the.
That's true because we can't.
To get
we
your
live in a time where we can't force people into mental health care. That's the biggest problem.
Exactly.
You know.
So,
but I'm saying that you probably should, you should be able to force your child into that situation.
Yes, because he's a child. Because he's a child and he ain't got no bills. He don't pay for nothing. But let's keep it real with Cleotha. He was a sadist young, between 11 or 13, whichever age is accurate. He sexually raped a grown-ass man. Now, you have to think about those actions. A child raping a man, he was already tainted young.
He could very well been made that way, right? So if he's around a lot of gang members and he got charged for raping that dude, it's very well that dude could have been bound. It could have been a part of a thing, and he like an initiation sort of situation.
Whatever it is, but the point is, he still kept getting into trouble. He still kept getting into stuff, whether it was the rape or this or that. It was just, they said it was continuous stuff going in and out of juvenile hall. So the mother should have stepped up and said to the system, the judge, and her son, I'm not tolerating this. You're not coming back to my damn house because you're a menace. You can't keep going in and out of the system. I can't keep running to the jailhouse. I'm tired. Mm-hmm. And she possibly had other children too. Who has that kind of time to keep fooling with one fucking badass kid? That takes up time from your other kids. I don't care what nobody says. That's why a lot of kids get lost in the shuffle with their parents, because the parents are always focusing on that one kid that's either sickly or always in damn trouble.
And they don't have the
other kids are neglected all your times with this one kid.
Yeah, that could make sense, actually. That does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Your phone's ringing. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, yes, Johnny's in jail. Can you come down here and get him? Johnny's in jail. Damn, I just picked you up 2 weeks ago. What is the problem? That gets old. That's tiresome. That's no different than dealing with an adult that keeps calling, talking about, I'm in jail. I need bond money. I need some money from a commissary. Man, come on.
You have a call from.
Right, exactly.
A collect call from some so-and-so prison.
It just gets old.
Yeah. Just a sec, Queen. Hold on.
Go ahead. That's fine. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Feel free to hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to Eliza Fletcher having fentanyl in her system, the quadruple murder out of California, suspect attempted to kill himself, confessed to his family, and Debbie Collier, the cryptic message. Why didn't she try to get help? Why didn't she tell her daughter to call 911, give a location instead of sending her money? And also, we're talking about that crime scene, what was left behind. Very suspicious to me that all those items that she purchased were there at the crime scene, which shows me that whoever killed her told her to buy those items. They told her to buy the tote, to put the items in the tote. And they walked her down to her death with those items and used them to set her afire. That's what I believe. Because there's paper on the ground, which shows me they opened that lighter through that paper on the ground. It's all intentional and deliberate, as law officials have told us. Very strange. And anybody would kill their own mother for whatever reason is diabolical. It doesn't matter the motive. Doesn't matter what you think the reason is for her killing her mother. It's still hate. She hated her mother. Loathed her mother. And the mother probably has enabled her, helped her along the way in her troubles with drug addiction, bailing her out of trouble, sending her money for bills, rent, toiletries, probation fees. Because you got to remember, too, when you get in trouble, you do have to pay probation fees, court costs, fines. It's not just you getting arrested, pleading guilty. You also have to be on probation. You also have to pay court costs and fines. Who's to say that she's never carried her weight, never held down a job? She's used people to live off of them, called her mom, different people for help. Who's to say the mother didn't get tired of this? So we don't really know the dynamics between Debbie Collier and Amanda. What the relationship was really like. We don't know the relationship between Debbie and the husband. Is he just oblivious to everything? Or, as AB said, stayed out of the way? Didn't rock the boat with her and her daughter? Did he want her here? Did the mother want her here? Did they just show up? What's the truth? Are they living on one of Stephen's property, living in one of his properties? How about now he wants her out? What does he say now? Get out?
I imagine the conversations are pretty awkward. He has to put up.
Yes.
All three of them have been according to them, interrogated. I don't think that's quite done yet, son. But so they've got a statement from these people as to the whereabouts or what happened to Debbie.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if investigators at a very early point have
They were
talked
together
about
17 years, I believe, Sweet Tea.
17 years. I wonder if they offered Steve a bit of advice on how to behave for the next little bit.
Possibly.
And I was just thinking, Queen, as far as a guilty party goes, now, just don't mind me. I swallowed a piece of small tinfoil. I just had some Benadryl for my cold.
Oh my
God! There's a piece of little foil on the back of it, so it's annoying.
Now, where did we hear somebody having foil in their mouth? Okay, Megan Boswell.
Yes, God,
Jesus.
But
start talking about that. Gee.
So he's come out and made a statement about his wife and something in her memory, but he hasn't answered the obvious questions that are on people's mind for over a month now, or really even talked. I wonder if that's by design.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are keeping close tabs,
I still would say something.
Everything in between Andrew, what Debbie's daughter? I just forgot her name. Amanda,
Panda Bear. That's my new name for
Panda
her.
Bear.
Panda Bear. We don't need formal names when we're dealing with the macabre.
It's got to be pretty tense, I would think, too. I'm scared. They would be scared if they're expecting the cops to knock on their fucking door at any moment.
But why not? Yes. You kill me when you do that laugh. Well,
I can't help it. It's just so sarcastic.
Why is he about his wife, though? Why not say, I love her, I miss her? Jesus, how's this happening? That's nothing to do with the killers. That's for you to say, man, I miss my wife. I can't believe my wife is gone.
Because I think in Steve's mind that he has to be wondering who the hell did this.
Well,
he hasn't seen.
Well, let's go there. Have they hinted to him that they think the girl did it? How about that?
I wonder if he has a new hiding spot for his key. Do you think?
You know what? Don't get me started.
I would probably move that fucking spare key.
That girl wouldn't have access to my damn house. I ain't lying.
No doubt.
I would be afraid to live in that house with my eyes open.
Could you imagine Amanda calling up Steve? Can we come stay with you tonight?
Exactly.
No fucking way, dude.
Because we don't even know what they were bickering about the night before when neighbors said they heard a commotion. So let's go back to that. What was the commotion? Because we're just backtracking over everything we've already discussed anyway. But
yeah, that's all right.
What was the commotion?
It would have to be something to do with borrowing money. It's not. Apparently, it's not new. They've been large sums of money over the past year. It's probably to keep Amanda away, give her a fresh start in Maryland. There's no contact order doesn't apply in Maryland, I would think.
Somebody says, I love your Burt Reynolds laugh. Oh my God.
It doesn't sound like that right now.
That's too funny.
But so
scary.
I don't know. Steve probably is keeping she would have no business to be at that house in the first place.
Yeah. Well, see, we can go back and argue all that about that key business. Did the woman give her a key anyway, just in case of something happening? He's not home, blah, blah, blah. I do believe he was home first. She showed up. I do believe she planted that ID and that credit card because she was at the scene and she took them out of the woman's purse and went up to that bedroom. Because remember, he says that to the dispatcher. Oh, she found the stuff upstairs. What the hell were you doing upstairs? And he was already home. What were you doing in her bedroom?
Well, remember that if Steve asks her that, she can just say, well, she indicated that there was a key under the blue flower pot, so I thought she wanted me to come here.
Okay. But it doesn't make any sense due to what the alleged text is saying. I am in the company of a kidnapper. Why would I give a you-know-what about sending you money? I need you to come get me.
Let me go. I love you.
No.
It makes no sense. So a tweaker sent this.
Listen, They won't let me go. Call 911. I'm on Highway 15. I'm on Route 62. You see where I'm going? I'm trying to tell you where I am so you can send somebody. I ain't trying to send you no damn money. Fuck that money. I won't help.
Money, there's a
Think
pressing
about that
issue
for a
right now
minute.
in my life.
You're with a kidnapper. Why would you be sending somebody money and you're being kidnapped? You're going to tell them, hey, come get me. Here's where I am. And like the officials have said on court TV, why would the kidnapper even let you use the phone unless it's going to be about a ransom and how he or she can get some money? But I'm with a person who should have money, so I don't need you to send nothing and talk to nobody on the damn cell phone.
Because somebody wants you to know that this was a setup, because it's so stupid. When they're sitting in court, it would be like, why would my client be that stupid as to send herself money and give herself away?
Because that was the motive for the murder in the first place.
Yeah, but that's what I think. I'm just describing that from the
I know what you're saying, but you're contradicting yourself because she has a past with stealing money from accounts and getting high. So all that's going to come out. So even if you threw that out there, first thing people are going to say is, but it doesn't make sense. This woman has access to a phone.
People can change, Queen.
Yeah, they can change, but I'm fighting for my life. I want out of here with this kidnapper. Please call 911. I'm not giving a damn about sending you no damn money and talking about a fucking key in a flower pot.
Yeah. Here's the key to my entire life and the rest of my money in my bank account. I love you. They're not going to let me go.
Right. So that's what she'll say. I assume that's what she meant. She wasn't coming back. Well, we know that this is fake because guess what? You never even called police. After getting that
have a new killer tagline in that. You know, when they point the gun to your head and say your prayers?
Yes.
It's like, send your Venmos. Send the Venmo to your daughter.
Please. Oh my God, please stop. I can't fool with you right now.
How would we know? How would we have ever known? So obvious this is a setup.
Because he says that his stupid husband sitting there talking to the dispatcher. Yeah, 2 hours later,
well, it seems, to be honest with you, imagine Steve's coming home. He's been home an hour, probably making himself to eat, trying to get things situated. Where's my wife? Then all of a sudden, well, Amanda's there. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Steve. I got this text from my mom like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Saying that the key was under a flower pot and that they won't let her go. Not mentioning anything about the money.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with Mom, Steve. I know my mom. Well, you need to call the police, Steve. And Steve's in a sense, Steve's in a bit of duress, if anybody, because he's getting gaslighted by this Amanda in real time. Yeah. Now he's pulled into it.
Let me tell you something too about this. Wouldn't I, as a sane person and older, say, "Let me see the text. Let me see what they said." Imagine that. Now we're going to ask that.
I don't know
if
everybody
asked her to see the text.
Oh, maybe she left her phone in the car.
No, but I'm saying, wouldn't I ask that? I would ask. Let me see the text. And let's say he did ask, what did she say in response? I deleted it.
No, you go show him.
Okay. But
because
you could
the message
not
doesn't necessarily say $2,400 with it, does it? Or is it all one piece?
It's just $23.85 is my understanding what was in the text. They won't let me go. Something about love you.
Maybe
it doesn't add up.
She deleted it.
But see, it doesn't add up because a person is fearing for their safety. They're not getting ready to send you any money. It doesn't make any sense. I'm going to be asking. I'm going to be telling you where I am.
Could you imagine walking up to somebody and saying, "Hey, your mom just got kidnapped, but they sent me the last of her money." So
yeah. Well, Benita, we don't know that she was in the house. I think he was there first because you got to remember she had to get back, and I believe she came in the house after he got home because he got home about 4:30. And you got to remember the timeline. This woman is coming out of a parking lot at 3:20. She wouldn't have made it back in time. He got there first.
So we know after 9:30. So we'll say 9:30, 10, 11, 12, 1:30, 2:17, she was photographed. So there's an area of 4 hours after just getting up and going. Mm-hmm. So they must have put it on her in that time.
Yeah. Yeah, because the place is an hour and a half away. And the woman is coming out of parking lot at 3:20. Then she's 14 miles from the dollar store. So you got to allot all that time. So they had to have gotten to Athens after the father got home because there's no way you're going to follow her 14 miles out, put her down in the ravine, try to set her on fire, do all this stuff, come back up, get in your car, and then drive an hour and a half down the road. That man was already at home by the time they touched down in Athens.
Yes.
That's why her call didn't go into 601. Stay woke.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, welcome to the party. This is why I always tell people to listen to the details, because the details will give you some reference to what the hell happened to the victim if you listen. And the fact that they did the 911 calls and they allowed to play those 911 calls, the 911 calls actually have helped seal up everything with the Venmo and make it make sense to me anyway.
Amanda's going to have her moment. She's going to have to, imagine this, Amanda is going to have to tell the truth at some point.
Yeah. Because
she's going to have it drug out of her.
She's told on herself with the Venmo. She told on herself when she mentioned about getting the supplies back. That led them to the Family Dollar in the first place, besides the Sirius XM. Then you've got the husband saying you told him about the credit card and the ID, which makes no sense because you changed the story 2 times. First, she left with the ID and the credit card only. Now it's, oh, I just found it upstairs. So which is it? Can't be both.
Yeah, you
remember that?
Story? I do remember because she only left with it. Then she.
So that means you saw her.
Home. Yeah, it was all.
So you saw her. So you saw her.
There's this allegation going around that I have to give some sort of credence to. I don't want to start rumors, but
go ahead.
There's the very first thing that she told police is that she knew that, allegedly, that Amanda knew that she went to that particular Family Dollar to get cleaning supplies.
But see, that's why I said that was the start of the story. They asked her, the reporters asked during that meeting last Friday, how'd you come about the Family Dollar location? Oh, she mentioned that she was going to pick up some supplies to bring back. To help them clean the apartment. Bring back.
Where was she going? Yeah.
Exactly. So then you lied saying you saw her with the card and the ID only. So that means you had to be in her peripheral to know she left out with it. So I'm assuming that means she was at the house. So then you switch it again and say, oh, she found the stuff upstairs in a purse. Oh, she ain't got no purse. But yes, she's got a purse on her in the surveillance camera. So which is it? She got any money with her?
It was probably a slip. That was probably the purse comment was probably a slip on Steve because, you can't always be in control of what somebody.
Well, he's going by what this dodo bird told him about a purse. Remember, she's the one that went upstairs and found the purse and the ID. That's why I said, what are you doing in her room? Why are you in her room? Because you went to plant those ID and that card.
Because that would be the most logical place where she kept all her important documents.
Exactly.
Like
you went up there and put them in a random purse and said, oh, mom left her purse. But if he knows his wife, he would say, let me see the purse. Well, where is her other?
I got a hypothesis for
Kohl's card, JCPenney's card. See where I'm going? Lowe's card.
Do you think she had plenty of time to fill out the paperwork and such to either switch beneficiaries, manipulate that piece of paper?
I don't know what that little bitch has done since she's been back.
That's what I'm like. There has to be an end goal to this because you don't just kill off the money. They want this to look a certain way. So obviously they get an insurance payout.
Yeah. Well, let's go here. Why are you implicating that guy from the car wreck? Like that guy said on Court TV. 9 times out of 10, they've already investigated that guy. He's not even in the parole system. So
more importantly, why are you telling that to her sister? Why are you purposely making something up and planting that seed?
You've got to set the scene that this is random. Some random person kidnapped her, robbed her.
Well, because it can be excusable.
Right. So let's go here. What all was in her purse when she stood at the dollar store counter? What all was in that handbag and what all is missing from the handbag? Has somebody stolen money off of other cards from the ATM? 2, open up accounts, other accounts in her name. Because I think she's been a little busier than what we're seeing. Oh, I believe that. You ain't going to just stop with the 2,300.
I wonder if there's a card skimmer involved in this whole situation. They wanted her to go to that. They want to go to her to go to that Family Dollar because they have their own card skimmer on that machine. So the information that she uses at that particular time, they'll have all her details.
Yeah. And the iCloud situation, you're throwing yourself under the bus with that. Why are you worrying about going into iCloud to get information to tell? But like you said, when you're talking to the dispatcher, you don't got a damn password because one, you didn't have no business having her password any damn way. That's her own personal account. You don't have anything to do with that.
Friends in chat, never give your password out to anybody anytime. And if you
we know that. Everybody knows that.
Go and change it. Yeah.
But people do give their passwords out for stuff when they're dealing with their kids. People let their kids use their credit cards.
I gave my password to Facebook to my wife one time because she thought like she was back in the day she thought she was a jealous type of person. So I'm like, fuck, here's my password. Goes through my things. And believe me, she found stuff. It wasn't anything. But believe me, the point is that when a person is in there in that state of mind, doesn't matter if it is or not, they will find stuff to use against you.
Yes, that's true. If they've made themselves believe that something's going on.
Oh, fuck yeah. There was
going on. She's tried to narrate the story as it's being a random kidnapping or violence against her mother. But in the end, all this narrating, she's implicated her own self because she's that stupid. She's stupid. She's talked too much.
Well, it takes a certain chance, doesn't it? It can go either way. This is a perfect example of a Dunning-Kruger effect, where she's strongly she outclassed herself in a sense where she thinks she's better than she really is.
Yeah,
and she thinks that her excuses are solid, and they're not. And she just has, there's a certain element of she has to really put a bet down on certain things.
Benita says, us older folks don't understand all this technology. That's why my kids said all my stuff. Well, Benita, that's going to be a problem because this is the reason why you all are getting hoodwinked and bamboozled. You're going to have to learn this technology stuff because that's going to be an easy way for people to get into your business. You got to understand.
That's an excuse, Benita.
Yes, people are scamming because
you don't have to know the engineering or the dynamics of the code. All you need to do is know the basics about network connection.
Yeah, you need to know
your router, after your router, encryption and passwords and why.
Yes, you need to learn all that stuff just because that is how people are getting hacked. It's because they got
10 minutes,
phone numbers, emails. That is how they're hacking you. You don't need to be having people know your passwords. You show them
down to it. Catfishing is still just as effective today as it was when it first started.
Yes.
And it's easy to get people to believe that you're something that you're not, or you're one person and you're not, if you really wanted to. Like, it is a lot of effort, but if you had a various agenda, again and again, we keep seeing some horrendous situations.
Yes. Flora is so funny. She says, that dizzy heifer gonna get locked up. That sounds like a queen's word. That heifer.
Oh, Amanda.
Well, let's go here. You're so stupid. They're at your house for 6 hours. Why would I be at your house searching your house for 6 hours and you just moved here?
Maybe there's something good on the TV. Maybe something came on the TV that fucking slowed the things down. They're watching the game from there or something.
6 hours.
Yeah. It was
who executes a search warrant for 6 hours and you just
because it takes time to plant all those fucking bugs, man. Can you imagine the level of paranoia that these people are under right now?
Where do I learn at community college? No, Benita, it's not that difficult. You just have to follow the instructions when you're setting up apps and things like that. Everything is self-explanatory, but I would not be sharing my passcodes with people. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's not necessary. And at any time you can go and change your password, do it.
Yeah. Don't share passwords to stuff because when you start losing money, that's the first thing the bank and people are going to say. Did you ever give your password to somebody? They're going to ask you that. And that can become a problem if your bank account starts getting compromised too often.
I wonder how many people or how many times people lie to that question.
Yeah, they probably do
you don't even admit because
But we know people give their credit cards to their kids. I've heard 1,000 times people say, well, Johnny had to get some stuff for college. I gave him my credit card. I gave her my credit card. It's a bad idea.
Fucking right. Because you end up getting Chinese food on it like more times than you really need.
Yeah, but then young people.
I did that to my mom when I was.
The young people are careless.
Yes, reckless.
They throw stuff around.
People's money.
They lose their own debit card. So if your child loses his own debit card and he's 19, 20 years old, why would you think he would not lose your damn debit card? Your credit.
Lacking foresight. You lacked foresight because you're preoccupied with whatever was going on.
You got to stop doing that. You got to think about yourself in this day and time. Don't ever assume that somebody won't rob you. Don't ever assume your own child or family member won't go in, hack your account, open up credit cards in your account. Let me spin this story to you about a certain person I know. A certain person told me this a couple of weeks ago. Their mother asked them if they would open an account for her so she could shop at a certain store where they sell, bulbs, lighting, that type of thing. One big chain stores. So the person said, I don't mind helping my mom, but why would I open up accounts? So if you go mess it up, max it out, I'm the one who's going to have to pay the due bill and it's going to mess with my credit. Because the mother is so selfish. She's upset. She feels like these kids and grandkids owe her money all the time that she wants her own daughter to go open up an account to a big chain store so she can go buy some stuff. Did y'all hear?
Oh, like a layaway account, or like what?
No, just like a Lowe's or
what
Home
they see
Depot
in
card.
weddings. They set up a certain thing. You can go and just donate money to that particular chain.
Well, don't be terrified, Benita. What we're trying to do is show you why you can't share information. This has been said countless of times, even before this new age. It's a new age where people are easily getting hacked. It's just common sense. You can't trust people. It doesn't matter if it's your child or if it's a stranger.
And with something easy as just changing a password, it's a peace of mind.
Yeah, you just have to be careful.
Don't let it worry you, Benita.
Sites you go on. Be careful of the sites you go on sharing stuff. Just common sense stuff.
Use a VPN. I like that one the best. That's my best money. The best. But
think about this. If this mother don't get her way with this certain person I know, who's to say she don't go open up an account in her daughter's name? She knows her daughter's personal information. She knows her address. See where I'm going?
See, I wouldn't think to do that.
What you mean?
Well, I wouldn't think if I had. So people that would be in that situation, personal caregivers.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
I wouldn't. They would go. I don't know. I mean, you have to watch who you trust. I guess we are being.
You can't trust anybody. That's the point I'm trying to make to Benita. That it doesn't matter who it is. It's just like right now. I live alone. I have to put everything up, hide stuff, because if you have somebody coming in doing work, whatever, you don't know if they'll pick up a cell phone, spare phone, iPad. And I'm telling you, it's a terrible way to live because people will take stuff. It's just the way it is. You could be in a car with somebody and leave your cell phone in the cup holder. Hey, I'm going to run in here and do this. You don't take your phone. You come back, now the phone's missing. You didn't think about it. It happens every day. Every day. People are compromised every day. But I was sitting here thinking about that with this dizzy ass girl's mom. I wouldn't be surprised if she goes and opens up an account. Because the daughter tells her everything, where she shops, what account she got open. What if she don't got the other chain store account? She knows, well, I'll just go open up one and put it in her name. She'll get approved because she's got decent credit. Bingo card.
That's a good point.
Because the mom's always crying about money, telling her and the kids, oh, y'all don't love me because you won't give me no money. So the mother equates money with love. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's horrible parenting.
Well, it is, because there's a bullshit going on
manipulative
with a lawsuit. I'm going to say it on the live. I don't give a damn if they hear it. One of the grandchildren came into a big lump sum of money. So the grandmother wants a piece of the pie. So she's trying to get money from anybody she can and get them to give her money, open up accounts, whatever. See, this is what I'm trying to tell people. You don't know people. And if a person's conversation is about money all the time, you could best believe they would open up an account in your fucking name and you got good credit. Why would they not? Oh, you don't want to open up an account? Well, I'll go do it in your name and you don't know it until you go check your
they'll say, you forced me to do that because you wouldn't share any of that fucking money.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the justification.
Benita says, I don't even know what a VPN is.
Oh, don't worry, Benita. It's fine. You have to use Google. Ask it. Ask Google.
Google knows everything. Ask Mikey.
Fuck.
Hey, Google is the new Mikey. I'm not trying to be mean, Benita, but don't get yourself wrapped up. Just know that anytime you need a password for anything, just don't share it. That's all. Don't share it. Don't share any passwords or passcodes pertaining to your bank account, Cash App.
Your nude photos.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. You know what? I can't fool with you. I can't fool with you. Well, let's go here. What's next on this Debbie Collier? I haven't Googled
digital
today to see
forensics
anything
are
new.
going to place. They're going to come out with the call of them, like so you can gauge it from the the New York Post and all that.
Okay.
They're going to want to answer that particular morning the call right away. So when the digital forensics comes back, they're going to drop a little bit of information in the public and keep the rest.
Okay.
So I think the piece that they're going to drop is going to be the agenda of Debbie and Amanda that day, like that combined with a little bit more information, perhaps on the commotion.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, let me see what they're saying here.
Or it could be. See that behavior you were just talking about when suspects, for instance, get involved in social media, especially YouTube live chats. It can be incredibly effective for a guilty party in that regards.
Did you see that his other wife died not too long ago in July? I'm looking in the Sun.
Yeah, from complications to COVID.
Yeah, postal worker. Yeah, married to Debbie's ex-husband, 15 years.
He wasn't
from complications, COVID. Very interesting.
He wasn't able to be reached for comment. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, because you ain't been reached for comment about this new wife. How about that?
Yeah,
I ain't talking about
the
the
new wife,
old
the old wife. So what I wonder about what the father has going on. Not that I suspect him.
Yeah, but you have to.
He might have an opinion about what's going on.
He has a lot to gain from his wife being dead. Come on now.
Potentially.
He has the best. He's matter of fact, he will be the first one you look at before you looked at this goofy ass daughter of hers.
Yeah, FLE. Then family would have been the first, but you'd still lump him in with family. X, same thing here.
I want to know what's going on. I want to know what he has to say about his damn wife, man. I want to know. Why aren't you saying anything about your wife? Why didn't you say anything about her when she first was found dead?
I'm wondering if he's estranged from Amanda.
Well, if she's on his property, you can't be too estranged. Just you ain't going over there, and you're telling her don't come to my house. But then guess what? If he tells her don't come to the house, first thing she's going to say is why? Why you want me to come to your house?
Is that what he said?
No, I'm saying imagine if he told her I don't want you to come to the house. She'll wonder, well, why don't you want me to come? Oh no, don't tell me you're like everybody else. You think I killed mom? I would never do that. I don't give a damn. Don't come over here.
So don't bring that fucking media circus anywhere close to me. The next thing I'll know, my place will be under surveillance. You're a suspect. You need to stay where you are. You think I would trust
her in my house after all this stuff's been said? You know he's hearing stuff, and we don't know what detectives have told him. Hell no, she ain't coming over here.
Something tells me that that's not really a concern because she's so isolated, socially isolated herself from her family in that regards because of the substance abuse.
Now say that again.
That she's isolated. I don't think that it's a risk for her to go and hide out at her dad's or anybody else's because I don't think she's on that level with anybody because of her level of social isolation from the methamphetamine. She'll have her own crazy delusional itinerary in her own life that she has her own satellites like Andrew to look after. She has a lot of managing to do, if you know what I mean.
Well, let's go here. Let's just say detectives have said something to him. He is hearing all this. He said, she said. He may even think that this girl's done something to his wife.
How did he be the first person to throw Amanda out?
But I'm saying that you got legally. Let's just say he can't throw her out. She has to have been there getting mail 30 days, which she's coming up on that. So right now is the time to get that heifer out of there before the.
Oh, that was a great time to lie to her. Like he'll patronize her. Like he'll just say,
too much going on, hearing too much. I don't want you on my property.
Nope. Just leave it be. Whatever agreements you had, I want to make your life as easy as possible right now. We'll just let this smooth over. You want to be as non-confrontational, like no fights, whatever just happened. It happened.
So she don't come in your damn sleep and cut your throat since you're a heavy
Exactly. You do that. Say, hey, no fucking worries. You live a couple months. We'll figure things out as they go.
Can't fool with
crazy
you
right now.
Look,
seriously,
I'm a heavy snorer.
Because the cops, damn well the cops are fucking listening.
This is not funny,
those police are sucking it up. You have to be as nice as possible and just go take it as it comes if you're Steve.
But
I
just
don't believe he's
imagine
involved.
knowing and thinking, either one, that this heifer killed your wife. You're sitting there thinking, damn it, I'm on a sleep machine. This heifer
In the
could come in
back
my
of your
house
mind, I
and
bet you
cut my
Steve is
throat.
thinking, I fucking knew this bitch is crazy. Like, there's a reason that Steve just lets it go because he knows he can't do anything about the craziness in the person that he loves life. Like, if that's your significant other, you're going to have to tolerate a certain amount of
Man, it's bad, though.
uncontrollable.
But you know,
It
this
is
is
very
bad.
sad.
But
But
you know,
it's
this is
part of the
bad.
price of being with Debbie, though, isn't it?
And so let's go there. Let's talk about that because I talked about it in
But
my
they've been together for a
live
long
this
time,
morning.
18 years. So Amanda's not new. He's got to be, Steve's probably
He knows
more of a
something. Yeah,
father
he
figure.
knows
Yeah,
something.
he's
He
been
knows
around there a long time. He's not new to the game.
But just imagine all these years, if this woman's enabled her, the day she got walked down to her death, just imagine all the key players, all the people involved in being related to these people. It's just what I said yesterday. One person can bring down a house of cards from one thing they do or say. They can bring down a whole house of cards. That's what this situation is like. This girl has committed this crime, naturally got aided by this boyfriend, and it's getting ready to be a ripple effect of all these people walking around like deer in headlights trying to figure out how this came to be. Oh my God, we really didn't know her. We knew she was trouble, but not to this extent. She killed her own damn mom. This is deep.
It is.
Because you're going to get 1,000 Jack in the Boxes and James in the Boxes jumping out, telling stories about this goofy ass chick and that boy. Just imagine. Remember I told you that the other day? Imagine what you don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm awaiting that. I want to hear some of these stories about them if they do exist.
Yeah, because I want the brother to talk and get this stick up out his ass. I want him to start talking. Excuse my language. I don't want to speculate. I mean, I'm wondering, are you enabled to? Because I'd hate to hear that you're a junkie.
Yeah, what is he asking the public not to do what the public does?
It's true crime. Once you have been deemed dead and it's murder, people are going to speculate. That's just what people do.
Oh, if it happened to me, I would expect it. You know?
But it don't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is.
It doesn't mean it's bad or good. You want people to talk, and it seems bizarre at first, but listen, death only happens once.
That's it. So all these people walking around dead here where I live, you think we're not wondering how they came to be dead in their car, dead in the alley? Hell yeah, people going to talk. What was she doing there? Late in the morning. Was she buying drugs?
If people didn't talk about it, there'd be a lot bigger of a problem going on.
Exactly. Whoa, why ain't nobody talking about it?
Yeah, that would be a bigger problem, wouldn't it?
That's what some guy said on social media. And then I did commentary about this guy that lives in a small town near here who was found bludgeoned in his house, and TBI is investigating. And so a lot of people were wondering, well, why is TBI investigating? It's just a random murder. I said, well, there's more to it. Possibly it's drug related, gang related, something. And he's an older guy, but he was still
well, they would be investigating it because naturally they would be involved in any sort of murder where the local municipality needed oversight in. They would be. It's just like a peer check. You know, same thing the FBI does to.
And let me tell you, that crime is itchy too, because let me tell you, gossip was hitting the street at the time that it went on. I mean, I was actually on the phone with somebody while they're standing outside the house trying to get the body out, but nobody can get the body out because of the damn dogs. And I'm sitting here listening to people. They're standing outside waiting. And I knew then something was wrong, because I said, well, why they can't get the dog? Why they can't get the body out of the house? And they're like, oh, well, the daughter's supposed to be so distraught. And I said, well, how was she distraught that she can't go put the dogs up and let the ambulance people go get her daddy out? What the hell are you all talking? What are you talking about? So I knew then something was wrong. Well, how about this? They've raided the daughter's house. Bingo card.
What happened?
Gee, I don't know. AB, what happened? Why is your house being raided right after your daddy's being pulled out of a house and his head blown off with a gun? Interesting. Why would
for any gunpowder residue on any of your clothes?
Why would they be in your house?
Shoe prints.
Your house? Because some people think it's a
Trace
setup.
evidence.
It's supposed to be over a card game that went bad, dice game. He called a guy nasty name. He slapped the guy. The guy accused him of having trick dice or some shit. And then
what is this, in 1990s?
I don't know, but it's all over supposed to be a game.
Boys shooting over dice game. Isn't that the opening to a Warren G song?
But you're 62 years old. You shouldn't even be gambling with these people. As some guy that knows him personally said, he had money, so he really should have been gambling with people that had less money than him. But he still wanted to be a part of that life. So here it is. You've done something, been accused of some trickery. The guy calls you a bitch, and then you slap him. And now, next thing you know, somebody knocked on your door and blown your face off.
Fuck yeah.
Then your daughter's house is being raided. Then also, guess what? They said the people went in afterwards to take stuff out of the house. I don't know if that's true or not, but that goes to what I just said. How did you all get in the house to get the stuff out if the dogs were in the yard? See, I pay attention to everything. That's got to be inside because somebody had to have the dogs up. And if he's known to keep the dogs in the yard, then that means somebody put the dogs in the house. Who put the dogs in the house? And them big furry looking, what I call people eater dogs with the big furry face like a lion.
Oh, not
white dogs. They're scary looking.
Great big, yeah.
They said they would bite. That's why he had him. He knew what he was doing. He had him on his property because he had an illegal house going on selling I believe narcotics, weed, and alcohol. That was the place where you can go get alcohol if you didn't want to go to the liquor store.
Yeah, bootlegger's place.
Yeah, bootlegger's place. So this goes to show you, hey, they knew something was in there, and I think the daughter probably took out drugs. He probably had dope laid around, money laid around, jewelry laid around. So the daughter took everything out before calling the police to say she found her daddy dead. But the part that don't make sense is if indeed she took stuff out of the house, how did the other community rogues go in to take the other shit out of the house? If that's true.
Maybe he didn't have a very fair credit system. Like you usually throw credit down just so you don't get your ass shot or somebody robs you, just to help out the community.
Let me tell you something I've learned. Nobody is your friend. And when you're doing illegal activity, there's no such thing as love and there's no such thing as loyalty. That even if you're the guy that everybody liked, at some point, there's going to always be the one that don't like you. And that'll be the one that'll take you down. And after the fact, while you're laying there bleeding out, shot up, they're stepping in over your dead body, pulling your good stuff out your damn house. And somebody saw that, and somebody's a witness to that. And guess what? No arrest. And it's been a whole damn month. And I find it strange. And I might do another live about that. Because I might rock a boat on a live where people be like, now, Angela, you shouldn't be talking about that.
How many people witnessed?
See, that's the whole point I'm trying to tell you. It's on a street that's heavily trafficked with dope running.
Oh, shit.
And there's eyes everywhere. Because you got to remember, if you shot him and didn't cover the gun with a towel, then people heard the gunshots. They woke now. And he lied in there a whole day because, if you go to my community page, you'll see me taking pictures where I go to this little place to get chicken wings and dinner, like where I went last night. We go there on Wednesday nights to drink and eat food. That's where he was that Wednesday night, the same night that this shit jumped off. And he laid dead up in his house after leaving this same place up until about 6 o'clock the next day. So the murder took place perhaps after midnight, after he returned home from the Magnolia Cafe. Because he was seen at the cafe on that Wednesday night. So he lied dead from after 11/12 Wednesday night into Thursday evening. That's a long time to lie dead.
Wouldn't something like that kind of float to the surface over time? Like people will know who killed him.
Yeah, they know who did it. Oh, there's a name that's already been brought out. And then allegedly, that guy's denying having anything to do with the murder. Allegedly, there's a rumor that he's already said something to the girlfriend that he didn't mean to kill the man. That's just something I heard, inside intel. And I don't know. I try not to mention his name because I don't need nobody to come hunting me down. But the point is, it's still a month later, and that boy's name was on the street day one. Why are there no arrests? Allegedly, he had cameras. That was told too. So why are there no arrests? Because he knew he was doing illegal stuff. You know damn well he had cameras. Unless somebody disabled them.
Because the cops don't care?
I don't know. TBI is investigating, so the cops are out of this.
Oh, okay.
It won't matter. The TBI, they're gonna do a thorough
investigation. An investigation on the whole situation now.
Some say the girlfriend set him up. One person says it's the daughter that set him up. I don't know. But the point is, if the dogs are outside, it's not winter for him to, bring the dogs in so they wouldn't freeze to death. Then that means the dogs are outside. How did the person get into the fence to shoot him? Or did somebody shoot him from across the street with a sharpshooting type gun? I don't know. It's just very strange. And it's strange that nobody's talking, but maybe somebody is talking. But then if somebody's talking, why aren't there any arrests? See, this is a very interesting story too. Small town USA, everybody sees and knows everything that goes on that street.
Well, there can technically be a lot of talking, but if there's nothing
there's a lot of
to back
talking.
it up, how are the cops to sign off on who's telling them the truth?
Yeah, well, I think several people probably called anonymously and told who they think the killer is and what it's about. I don't doubt that they know it's about a dice game. But then, like I told somebody, it's probably something deeper than that. So I have a source who's close to the victim, and he told me that it's over a robbery that took place back 2 days beforehand. The guy who allegedly shot him got robbed in a drug exchange, and Mr. Black did not. Why not? I said, I'll be damned. This is crazy.
So does that mean he potentially missed his target a couple days before?
What you mean?
What, wasn't he the target or the person?
No, what I think is Mr. Black may have set up a drug exchange for this guy, and the guy got robbed. I don't know if they were all together, but from what the source is telling me, perhaps this is a vengeance killing of, I got robbed and why didn't you get robbed if you're the initiator of the exchange?
Right. Okay.
So see, this is what I had said about Mr. Black. Mr. Black has been afforded the opportunity to be free because he did kill a man at one time and went to penitentiary. And payback is a you-know-what. And sometimes you get back what you gave in life. So I think Freddie wanted to have his hand in the street because he missed the life he had out here, which was doing wrongdoing. But that's what got you in prison in the first place. So why would you want to come back to the street, dibbling, dabbling in drugs and fooling with young women? You understand what I'm saying? Street women.
Yeah, I know what this lifestyle. Maybe he missed the life. He was good at the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that was an easy way to make a buck.
And it is an easy way, but everybody knows there's repercussions in selling drugs. It's just the way it is. Somebody is not going to like you, and somebody is going to try to get you.
Oh yeah, it's always changing, and you're soon past your prime in that. You usually ride high once and then move on.
Yeah, because they said, he's been robbed over there in Knoxville. Some guys came out and vandalized his car. So you knew what they thought of you out there and Knoxville too. You shouldn't have had your hand in nothing. It's also been said that he's married, but that wife lives in Georgia, because I looked her up on Facebook. And the first thing I thought was, why are you still married to him? Why are you all still married? You're over here sleeping with this young girl, that girl. He was trading out all these little street women that are junkies. Why are you messing with street women when you have a wife that's productive? Because he still liked that life, and he was attracted to even the street women, which is to me disgusting.
That is a bit much.
Because you have no reason to want a woman that is out here in the street getting high, junkie, doing this and that. See, to me, he's also like a man that's a manipulator.
Well, he might be a bit of a sadist in that regard, because most of the women out there are there under duress, or they're not there of their own volition.
Yeah. So he liked all parts of the street life. But look what it got him. 6 feet under.
Oh, fuck. It's where it's going to put. Well, it'll put you there anyway.
It'll put you there. And that's what people don't understand about selling drugs. Whether you sell it or you use it, there's a chance you're going to end up down below. One way or the other.
High risk.
You're a high risk.
Heightens your risk, yes.
Because I don't like the fact that drug dealers get more time in prison than the user. You use these people up for getting the drugs from them. And then when shit don't go your way and you're caught up in a sting, you go run and tell who gave you the dope. And then you get a plea, walk free, and then go back to doing what you were doing. And we already know that a lot of people that use are the ones
the money is in the corruption.
Yeah, they're the ones out here robbing and stealing from people, breaking in their houses to get the dope, but they get a plea bargain and the dope dealer gets more time just for selling the dope. How's that fair? And some people may disagree with me.
Because it's their answer to immediately cleaning up the streets on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's taking that person out of.
Yeah, but everybody knows there's a replacement for everything. The dope dealer is going to always be replaced with another dope dealer. So you're not solving anything. The person out on the street that's doing all the underhanded shit, like I just said, pushing indoors and robbing people, that's the one that usually gets to plea in less time or walks free altogether for giving up the information of where the dope is stashed.
Oh, listen, it's time for reform. It's time for drug law reform. If you want to get rid of the pushers and these dangerous drugs on the street, you have to make them legal and give them a clean supply. And then where you give it to them, you also offer them assistance from doctors to get off of them.
Yeah, because you see what I just brought information about the fentanyl in that article I read. It said that if you happen to be with a victim that overdoses, you can be not accounted for, not go to jail, just so long as you call 911.
Yeah,
and that could have been the person that actually gave them the dope and knew the dope was tainted, and they don't even got to admit, yeah, I gave them some bad shit. I knew it was bad, so they don't even have to get arrested. And that's the reason why you're finding all these people slumped over dead in apartments and houses and thrown out because people get scared. Because I want to bring another story about Chillicothe, and I'd like you to join me on that live because I think a lot of people need to hear that story. All these women are found dead. All are streetwalkers and all were users. And the main connection is one black man who's a dope dealer. So I'm thinking perhaps that some of these girls OD'd and people just dumped them out as to not be brought up on charges.
Well, it's a different kind of serial killer in that regards.
Yes, but see, we don't really know if that's the motive or not, if the girls overdosed and they were just dumped, but they all were dumped in ravines and rivers.
Oh, if he was then like going and dumping them, yeah, there's a process there. That's definitely a serial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if they're just overdosing.
Chillicothe, it's a very
so
good
that tells me that the body was probably with him and he was doing something with or to them and then dumping them so as not to
the connect of the Chillicothe women goes deep. They took it to West Virginia. They took it to a trucker. They had one girl who was possibly linked to these. It just goes really deep. You don't know how far down the rabbit holes this story goes with the women. And there's also a story coming out of Louisiana that's similar. Same thing. All the girls knew each other. All the girls were street workers. All the girls were connected to a hotel outside the city limits. All connected to a sheriff. All connected to another dope dealer guy. He's still living. He denies that he had anything to do with those killings. You don't know what to believe, but they're all connected to each other. So drugs is also wrapped up into that story too.
They're all connected
very
through
good
each
story.
other through this drug dealer.
Yeah, I think I saw it on Showtime. What is it called? Something. It's pertaining to killing in Louisiana. Something I can't remember how to find the name of it, but it's a really good documentary. Because to this day, nobody's been arrested for all those dead women down in Louisiana. And it's just the same MO as Chillicothe. All the women knew each other. All the women got high. All the women are connected to the same suspect.
That carries a manslaughter charge in Tennessee.
What?
Being the dealer and them overdosing.
Okay.
So if somebody overdoses on fentanyl and they know they sourced it from you, that carries a manslaughter charge.
Yes, Tennessee is strict. There was a home off of Western Avenue, back up in that subdivision, back up in there. I know a lot of people who live back up in there, and they closed the house down because every time they looked up, 911, ambulance is going to this house, and everybody's dead. Or somebody's overdosing. So the city shut the house down, and I do believe they brought that Caucasian man to charges for murder or manslaughter.
Jesus.
Because they knew it was a nuisance. Something's going on. So is he the one feeding the girls and the men the dope? Because why are all these people overdosing in your house? You're in a subdivision full of houses, but your house is the only house that got people falling over dead.
Having the best stuff.
Yeah, but guess what? I wouldn't want something so good that I ain't gonna be able to wake up and get high again.
Doesn't make sense, but I don't think that's how the body works, because the person who's taking it's always under the illusion that they know what their limitations are, and they soon you soon make a mistake under that mindset.
But see, what I read to the chat earlier about that fentanyl, it says the smallest amount could send you down. And everybody's body is not the same. So what can make you take it? The next person can just OD and die. And you're not going to know until you take it. And that's a hell of a gamble. And like they said, sometimes people are serving these people dope. They don't even know it's laced with the fentanyl. So it's a two-way street. You don't know. And who's going to admit it? Oh, yeah, I gave her something with fentanyl in it.
Well, if you're the danger in that situation is if you're putting yourself in that and you're using and not knowing that there's a supply and a lace of fentanyl in it.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not going to recognize when. So you're just going to not remember.
Right.
You're just going to die. Your chances of dying.
And you are taking a chance now with that cocaine and fentanyl and heroin because it's laced with that fentanyl. You don't even know what you're getting. Because like they said, the dealer could be getting it from somebody and he don't know it's been cut with that. He's just trying to make his money. And the next thing he knows, somebody comes back and tell him, hey, man, you know that stuff you served Susie? Yeah, what about it? She's dead. What? Now what? Now all it takes is somebody to drop a dime. Oh, yeah. Old boy over there on 15th Street, he's been serving people and they've been falling over dead. But you got to prove he knew that it was laced. And maybe the state don't care when they bring charges. Because they can look at it like this. Well, you're doing wrong, so it don't matter if you knew or not. You're breaking the law. We don't care. Interesting.
It's a scary situation.
Very scary. And that's why you don't take stuff from people. Because young people are stupid. Somebody says, here, take a pill, you'll feel better. I've heard that so many times. I've had so many people offer me, you're not feeling well, your back's hurting. Here, I got a pain pill. Hell no.
Well, it's like these blues. They call them blues on the street that they're getting hooked to down. I watch them in Phoenix, but it has to be other places as well.
Yeah.
But these are pills, usually oxycodones or other, with a dot, with a little drop of fentanyl on them.
Fuck that, man.
And that's what they're fucking hooked on. And
ain't no way I would take anything from anybody. I don't care what you say it is. I don't care if I saw you pull it out the pill bottle itself and it looked like the other pills in the bottle. I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, but you and I can say that about in our 40s. The danger is that your mindset in your teens like that. Oh, it's just terrifying to know that teens are open to taking it.
They're gullible.
Yeah, and how potent it is. Like, fuck, that kind of stuff wasn't available back in the 80s and 90s.
I know. And that's what's so scary is that people, young people, and some older too, because we got some old fools out here, they just will take anything somebody give them. They'll take a pill, they'll take a drink. So, like somebody said, you don't let somebody walk or drink.
I've probably been in that mindset back in my 20s. Like, like when you go through that, especially your college days, it's like, what, we'll try.
Well, when I was in college, I don't know of anybody that was taking any pills. The only thing we did was drink then.
No, they started even back then. Meth for college kids wasn't even on. They used to start taking it in early 2000s.
Let me tell you when I heard of meth. When I would watch Cops in college, we would watch Cops and they would always show California. That was the only time I heard of meth. And when I heard of black people using meth in California, but I had never heard of meth being prevalent until watching Cops. That was like 30 years ago. Then I started hearing about it a couple of years ago, and I started hearing about black people using it. Just gonna keep it real. The black people in this area, they use crack cocaine or they snort it. I never knew that anybody black was even using it. But like they say, once one drug becomes a shortage, people will say, well, hey, I got this. You want to try this? You want to get high? You go ahead and you try it.
Users. Yeah. Something cheaper that's a longer lasting high than cocaine. People certainly were looking for an alternative to cocaine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I started hearing about these black people using it, and I thought, what are y'all saying? They're like, yeah, don't you know she's on meth now? And I'm like, meth? I'm like, meth is here? And they're like, yes, yeah, honey. But see, that was a white person's drug in this region. I never knew nothing about no meth. And I never even heard of black people using meth.
Meth you can make yourself. Back then, when it was still wide open, there wasn't any restrictions on any of the things that people were using to cook in their backyards. Which people once you got the recipe from places like 4chan, people were making it like crazy in the country, in small town Ontario, and all through the Midwest, and it started taking off. So I mean, it became people's preferred method because guess what? They didn't have to go to a drug dealer.
Yeah. Well, I learned about it years ago. I started hearing all these crazy stories of people cooking it up. Like one girl, she was living out in the county near her grandparents' house. And so the grandparents had put her in a little house near their trailer. This stupid bitch decides she wants to become a scientist. She blows the whole damn house up, cabin up. And I said to myself, see, that's how dangerous that stuff is. You're sitting here mixing that stuff. You don't even know what you're doing.
Well, there is a major danger because the expenses start coming up. Like people start reusing the bottles that they cook it in. If you're doing it, just use it once, because the dangers come in because it's under intense pressure, and it starts to get hot when you shake it through all the chemical processes happening, turning the lithium and infusing it into the or the pseudoephedrine. When it finds a weak point in that bottle, high pressure, there's nothing that you're going to do to stop it with your finger. And as soon as that liquid in there touches, because it's infused with lithium now, and what does lithium do in oxygen? Burns. So it's now like a little flamethrower. So it spits out, and the oxygen, the air, ignites the ether or whatever fuel that you're using. It's usually just like campfire fuel, but and it just sprays all over the fucking place. And you almost have to throw it out into the yard or something like that, so it doesn't. It has a real potential of blowing apart, because that weak point is going to get a lot worse potentially. So that's where people can't control the fire, and they burn their places down often. That's where the explosion happens.
Okay,
it's always human error, by the way.
Yeah, well, see,
tweakers aren't exactly the folks. They don't like to follow the recipe to a degree, and it just happens.
Okay. I got a notification the other day. It's probably on. They played it already. CBS 2 about the Tylenol murders that went on when I was a child. It happened 40 years ago in Chicago, and very interesting content. I might do a live or upload short about that.
They never caught that person, did they?
Right. No, they haven't. They're doing a story on it now. They've done a story on it.
How is it you couldn't really catch that person? That's what baffles me. You think that you would have had internal CCTV and you could have. It seems to me that it works in the favor of the drug company if they didn't identify any of the employees due to union things. However, this is a crime that happened, and we know what. It's just better that it was an employee that worked for them. That's all they're going to acknowledge, and that's where they want to leave it.
Yeah. Wow. This is just a sad world that we're in. Are you going live this evening? Because I'm already at 3 hours and 26 minutes. Huh?
I'm going to go have some, cook some supper first. And I'm going to go live probably around 9:00.
Oh, what are you going to talk about?
We'll see what's up in the news, but probably I'm going to talk for an hour about probably
killing in California.
Amanda Bearden.
Yeah, I'd like to. I also like to do a story about what's going on with the serial killer that they're now talking about.
He's a white dude, I think.
Okay, let's ask this one question, because I saw the profiles of the people. They're men. Why are you killing men?
I don't know why he is doing what he's doing, but I do know that I've got that walk in my head. It's, they have that little 9-second video of this individual that shows up, and he's a common denominator throughout all of these different crime scenes on CCTV. That walk tells me that he's probably mildly, I don't know, autistic. I do know, maybe he's mildly autistic. It just seems that his walk is there's an uncoordination to it. I know there's a term for it, his gait. It's just it stands out in a crowd. So that is a very predominant feature that people are going to be able to recognize. How they can't recognize, unless he's pulling like a Kaiser Soze, from the Usual Suspects.
Oh God! Oh, I love that movie. Ah!
Yeah. I wonder if he's doing that. But
Can you imagine
is that
sitting in that detective room, talking to that guy? He walks out, and you start thinking about everything he said during the interview, and then you realize, oh my God, I've been sitting here talking to him. I love it. It's priceless.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Yes, that's an awesome movie.
Kevin Spacey too. That was Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, that's Kevin. Yeah, and I liked him when he did the TV that show. Was it Showtime or HBO where he was the senator or whatever? That was a good movie. That was a good TV show.
Yeah, until things went wrong.
Yeah,
he is a bit nutty in his real life. I guess. But he
Well,
was
don't
good
you think
looking.
somehow that stuff crosses over? That usually it's the craziest people that become
Absolutely.
actors and entertainers.
Absolutely. You can see it happens here on YouTube too. With
They
people.
start to get really big in their boots. Well, that's something else I saw before I get off of here. That's something I saw last night with Alec Baldwin. I believe he's going to be the executor of the movie. They're resuming the movie after that shooting, and I don't understand how they didn't know. He didn't know that was a prop gun. Wouldn't a prop gun be lighter?
Oh fuck. I guess I don't know if. No, it was all has to do with the round. You want to be as authentic as possible.
Yeah, but look at all the times we watched movies and they were prop guns and we didn't know. We're just looking at the movie as it unfolds, like, oh my God, he pulled a gun out. I'm not sitting there looking at the gun saying, oh, that gun don't
Because
look good.
the actor can't deliver the line if he is picking up a plastic fucking toy gun and he's gonna pull like an epic scene in Scarface. Imagine. No, you need the real fucking thing. You got to feel that weight. You got to feel that power.
Well, guess what?
You got to be
You
in
can
the
feel
scene.
the weight, but guess what? It still shows that something's hanky panky. You can feel the weight without having a bullet in there. Come on now.
Yeah, well, that's my
gun's
point.
heavy on its
How
own.
Ever did a real bullet
in a gun? That's what I'm saying. I think somebody did
Find
that
its way
shit
in
on
there.
purpose because it makes no sense to have a live round in a gun on a show in a movie. That makes no logical sense.
they
and you
should
know
have
it.
thrown? They should have thrown charges down from the top, from the executive level.
Well,
Federal
he's
level.
paid. The clip I
And say,
watched
this
last
is
night
not
showed
going
he
to
did
happen
pay.
again. Like, what about the workplace insurance board down there?
Yeah, they settled a lawsuit for the lady, the cinematographer. But the point is, it's common sense. You're filming a movie, whether to play a movie reenactment. You don't have a live round in the gun, just like that stupid sheriff or police officer that was doing a training class about 2 years ago or so, and he shoots one of the older people in the audience. So I was like, "Are you serious?"
Oh fuck! Really?
Yeah, yeah.
He
You have to
never
Google
checked-
it.
he
It was the
never
stupidest
checked
thing I'd ever
the
heard.
chamber.
Yeah, he pulls it out to show him what you do. It was like a training class, and he shoots one of the elderly people in the fucking audience. I said, "You can't make this up."
That is the. It's almost funny. Did she die? Did she live?
No, they didn't die. They got wounded, but it was like, Jesus,
Okay, good.
what are you?
Well, now you can fucking laugh about it and joke about it.
Because if you go into the class, you're gonna say, "Let me pull the bullet
Gun safety
out of the
101.
gun." Yes, I believe that's what it was.
Oh, and at first that's so bad. But everybody thinks that they can teach a gun safety course because gun safety is.
But he was
the
an
same for
officer
everybody.
he's an officer of the law.
Well, that's better. That's even better.
So that's why people are looking at him like, this guy doesn't need to be a cop because he doesn't have sense to come in here with the unloaded damn gun.
No, exactly. He fucking should have been debadged after that point. We can't trust you in a public setting with that. Like, that is obviously there's a bit of a problem with police conduct, and they have rules of their own, I would expect. I wonder if he was an old fella and he was losing it a little bit.
I don't know. I don't think he was that old. But I tell you something I have noticed here lately is a lot of cops are now finally going down for falsifying reports of apprehending people. We do have a current story right now here in Knoxville. I've been trying to pull it up, but I couldn't find it. They're just going back to the May 22nd article. But a Black girl allegedly is supposed to have been running from the law, college student at TSU. She was home, and she's now got a nice little settlement from the city of Knoxville because they now have him on camera lying about what actually happened to him pursuing her. And I went back to watch that video a while ago, and I wanted to make sure before I made any judgments. And I said, well, it does look like she's speeding up through the street, but now we have information that says he falsified information that she was running from him and went in the house and parked the car. So she's got a nice little lump sum. I can't remember if it's 125,000 or 250,000. Look, it's enough to play with.
Really?
Yeah, pull it up.
I would think that that would have been
it happened back in the
payout
spring
from insurance board.
Well, the city's paid her because they've got him caught lying, and I've been seeing that lately in the queue of many officers now being brought up on charges of falsifying reports, against civilians that, he was doing this, she was running, blah, blah, blah. And they now have information to
Because
say, they've been lying.
Each time they pull their gun, they have to take out paperwork or something like
Yeah,
that.
because he ended up tussling with her. Just go pull it up. The video circulating where he goes to the house, she comes out, he wants to talk to her. The next thing you know, they're tussling and all that.
What is it called? What is it called? So I know it's
it'll be young Black woman arrested by police officer.
Was it a
It's
body
video.
cam?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
The police activity?
Yeah, they were going to her house to ask her about her leaving the scene of an accident or some kind of mess.
Oh, or was that on Dr. Rashad? If it says young black woman.
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Rashad.
Yeah, I watch him. I like him.
Yeah, he's good. He's
Yeah, he has
good,
some
except
interesting-
the
he
only
has
thing
some
I don't
interesting
like
stories.
is, oh fuck, they're awesome. They're good in your face stories, and he's, you know, he doesn't hold back. But the
What
problem
do you
is
think
he's-
about the bishop? What do you think about the New York bishop? He's
I'm not sure
where he grabs the YouTuber. I love it.
what happened.
Some girl wants 5 minutes of fame on YouTube. She sends a woman into the church to rile him up, and she's filming all of it when he comes out, and she's coaching her, and it's some bullshit because he's telling her in there, he's doing one of them queen moments. Come on, I'm gonna make you famous. Come on, I'm gonna make you famous. Come on, keep filming me, keep filming me. He grabs her by the neck, and he swears he didn't do it, but he's on camera grabbing her and walking her out the church. And she's
by the collar
with a girl with a YouTube channel. It's crazy.
Don't fuck around in there.
Well, go find it on Dr. Rashad's one of his videos because he just uploaded that not too long ago.
So I'm gonna go check this young. What was the young black woman I want to check out? The young black woman. Oh, is it on Dr. Rashad as well? Sorry.
Okay. He's probably done one on her too because I have seen people do stories about her in the YouTube queue. The one here in Knoxville.
All right, Queen. Well, I got to take off. I'm going to go cook some
Me
dinner.
too. Thanks a lot.
All right, Queen.
Oh,
see you,
those
everybody.
videos you did were great.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that one was epic. I was in my bed screaming because, I watch stuff late at night. And everybody's telling me, that's why you're crazy. You keep watching that stuff late night. Go to bed.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
it, and I'll check you out later.
Okay. Thanks a lot. All right, everybody, that's AB. Please go check out his content. I'm going to get out of here. I'm already 3 hours and 35 minutes in. But God bless all of you. Please stay safe. If I don't come back by tomorrow, have a safe weekend. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. This was a 3-part live pertaining to Eliza Fletcher having fentanyl in her system. Did he inject the woman with drugs? Goes to show that possibly he is a drug user, as I suspected. Cleota Abston Henderson. I don't believe the woman was using narcotics. I do believe he injected the woman with drugs. And that just shows you how terrible and sick the case was and who this man is. He's been a menace since he was a child. And now he's finally behind bars again, facing murder charges, kidnapping and murder charges of Eliza Fletcher. I brought you commentary about the quadruple murder out of California. The suspect attempted to kill himself after police tried to arrest him. He confessed to his family. Why did he commit the crime? Why did he try to kill himself? Did he ever do a dry run before? Because the business was only open 1 week. Had he been watching these people and just took his opportunity that fateful morning? And then Debbie Collier. The subject has been about the daughter, the Venmo account. Why didn't Debbie call 911? I'm over here on highway such and such. Please send somebody to get me. Why would a person's life be in danger and they're only talking about sending money and a key under a flower pot? Did Debbie Collier send that text? I don't think she did. Did her daughter orchestrate this murder? Yes, I believe she did. Was she in the car? I don't know, but I believe she was either in the car or she met her over there at the crime scene. And I also talked about the crime scene in this live, that it was orchestrated, set up to take all those items down to the ravine to set Debbie Collier on fire. I do believe that was also deliberate. The person called her and told her what to buy. So we'll wait on data to come back to see text messaging from any device and or phones of a conversation between Debbie Collier and her daughter. I do believe the boyfriend is also complicit. What's his role? Don't know. But I do believe he's there along with Amanda. And the reason why we know it's personal is from conversations with law enforcement from Amanda. Amanda baiting the auntie into conversation about an ex-con and a car accident, going to the house, planning ID, credit card. She was there with her mom and she took all that stuff back. And that's why she didn't make the report until 6:01, because she had time to get back, come up with a story or ruse. She planted all that evidence to make it look like this crime was random. She did this. The Venmo account shows guilt. Mentioning Family Dollar to law officials, guilt. Sending herself the money, guilt. Being the orchestrator conversation to all the people, stepdad, the aunt, guilt. Crying and moaning about being in fear of her life, guilt. She's done this. She did this. And yes, nobody believes Debbie sent that text. It's all a matter of figuring out who's in the car with her, or if indeed Debbie went out that day to meet them. But there had to be an alternate car because the van was left. And that's one of the smoking guns in this story. The Venmo account, the gun, and the fact, the Venmo account, the van, and the fact that she's done this before with Andrew, hacking his account, linking accounts to get money off his account. That shows probable cause that you have done this before. You have the propensity to steal. The fact that you're worried about an iCloud and a password, that's also another smoking gun. What are you doing in her iCloud? What were you doing in her room? Because you planted that ID and that credit card in that lady's purse. And you fed all that garbage to the husband, who's obviously oblivious to what goes on with his wife and her things and belongings. It's called A Balance, sweetheart. Thank you for joining me. My next live I don't know what my topic will be. Somebody's mentioned some things about Camille McKinney. I may come on later to talk about that if I find something pertinent to bring to you all. I'm going to keep you on an update pertaining to the quadruple murder out of Merced, California, because that person is in the hospital that attempted to kill himself. And naturally, I'm going to keep you abreast on what's going on with Debbie Collier's story. Thank you so much for following the content. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below. Please take the polls that's on my community page. I have a poll pertaining to breaking news. And if I get an update to any other stories, I will bring them to you. And I also believe there's an update pertaining to Uvalde and the parents. I also want to talk to you guys about the Tylenol murders that took place in Chicago 40 years ago. I was a child then and living in Chicago. I'd like to bring you content on that if I can. So thank you so much for joining me. Sorry the live is so long, but I figured somebody would eventually hit the link and we chop it up. And that's how it goes. Thank you all so much for following me. You're welcome, sweetheart. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Please be safe. Please be aware of your surroundings. Prayers for the Fletcher family. Prayers for this family out of California. And prayers to Debbie Collier's family. Justice is on its way. It's just a matter of time that we get an arrest or more in her death, murder. Thank you for joining me.